Honey, I'm not coming home tonight. I'm going out with friends. On the phone, Sophia's voice carried a deliberately cool tone. In the background came the sound of a man's laughter and clinking glasses. My hand holding the phone trembled slightly, not from anger, but from familiarity. I answered this call. 3 years ago today, Sophia called me like that. In my previous life, I foolishly worried about whether she wanted me to pick her up, only to be met with her impatient refusal and a hang-up. Then I waited at home the whole night. She didn't come back until noon the next day, her clothes wrinkled and suspicious red marks on her neck. I was reborn. I've been reborn to 3 years ago, the first year of my marriage to Sophia. In my last life, I humbled myself for this woman for a full 10 years. From the time she began hinting, vaguely, that other men were pursuing her, to later brazenly staying out all night, and finally to the point where she brought that man home and announced she wanted a divorce. I begged her desperately like a clown, knelt and pleaded for her not to leave, even agreeing to walk away with nothing. But she still left, taking the company I had painstakingly built over 10 years and all the assets, and eloped with that pretty boy 5 years younger than me. I stood on the rooftop all night, and in the end chose to jump. I never expected heaven would give me a chance to start over. Ethan, can you hear me? Sophia's voice pulled me back to reality. I looked at the version of myself in the mirror who seemed 10 years younger, a cold smile curling at the corner of my mouth. I heard you. My voice was so calm, I surprised even myself. Sophia, let's get a divorce. There was complete silence on the other end of the line for a full 5 seconds. You. What did you say? Sophia's voice was clearly panicked. Ethan, are you overworked? Why would you say something like that? I'm wide awake. I walked to the balcony and looked down at the busy street below. Tomorrow I'll hire a lawyer. Think about the division of assets. Ethan, are you crazy? I just went out with a friend, and you want a divorce over that. Sophia's voice shot up 8 degrees, completely losing the coldness from a moment ago. Friends? In my previous life, I checked. That friend was called Liam, 5 years younger than me, a third-rate model living off a few rich women. Sophia was one of his benefactors. It's not because of tonight. It's because we're not right for each other. I said very calmly, Sophia, we're both adults. There's no need to torture each other. Ethan, listen to me. I was really just eating with friends. There was nothing more. I hung up the phone immediately. In my previous life, I heard countless similar explanations from her. Every time I chose to believe, every time I told myself to be tolerant, to understand. But in this life, I don't want to be that fool anymore. The phone rang again soon after. Without looking, I switched it off. I walked to the study, turned on the computer, and began searching for divorce lawyers. In my last life, Sophia was able to take all my assets largely because I was unguarded and all the property was marital. But this time is different. I know what she'll do, and I can prepare in advance. Just then, the doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Sophia standing outside, her face still flushed from the alcohol, but her eyes unusually clear. She really came back. In the previous life, she did the same. Whenever I showed a bit of dissatisfaction or suspicion, she would immediately come back to soothe me, making me feel I was being overly sensitive. I took a deep breath and opened the door. Honey, I'm back. Sophia threw herself into my arms, carrying the mixed scent of alcohol and perfume. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have talked to you like that. Her acting was still so good. Her eyes were reddened, making her look pitiful. You said you wouldn't come back? I didn't hold her. Instead, I gently pushed her away. Sophia froze for a moment, then looked at me even more wronged. How could I not come home? This is our home. Honey, are you still angry? I'm not angry. I turned and walked toward the living room. I said, let's get a divorce. Ethan. Sophia hurried up and grabbed my arm. What on earth is wrong with you? We've only been married a year, and you're asking for a divorce? Is there another woman? Her voice trembled, and tears fell. If it were me in my previous life, I would have softened long ago, held her, apologized, and promised never to bring up divorce again. But now I only felt disgust. This woman actually pretended for 3 years to test my love for her. 3 years. For a full 3 years, she tortured me in this way, making me suffer in pain and doubt. There isn't any other woman. I looked at her. Sophia, don't you think there's something wrong between us? You're coming home later and later. You don't want to communicate with me as much, and your attitude toward me on the phone has grown colder and colder. I just have a lot of work pressure. I'm in a bad mood, So, because you're in a bad mood, you take it out on me? You deliberately make me worry? I cut her off. Sophia, I'm tired. She widened her eyes and looked at me as if she were meeting me for the first time. Yes, in my previous life, I would never have spoken to her like this. No matter how she treated me, I would have chosen to endure and forgive. Honey, can we please talk properly? Sophia pulled my hand. I promise I won't do this anymore. I'll come home earlier, and I'll speak to you properly. I withdrew my hand. Sophia, some things can't be solved with an apology. The trust between us has already been fractured. What trust? What don't you trust me about? Her voice began to tremble again. I looked at her delicate face and remembered what she said the last life when she brought Liam home. Ethan, I never loved you. I was acting for those 10 years. Did you really think I would fall in love with a man like you? I don't trust your attitude toward this marriage, I said. Sophia, if you truly feel unhappy with me, then let's separate. There's no need to torture each other. She suddenly fell silent, a flicker of an emotion I couldn't read crossing her eyes. Ethan, you've changed, she murmured. You weren't like this before. People change. I turned and walked toward the bedroom. You can sleep in the guest room tonight. Let's both calm down. Sophia's sobs came from behind me, but I didn't look back. In my last life, I looked back countless times. Each time her tears softened me, and in the end, I got even deeper hurt. This time, I won't make the same mistakes again. The next morning when I woke up, Sophia was already gone. On the table was the breakfast she had made and a note. Honey, I'm off to work. Can we talk about last night tonight? I love you. I looked at the words, I love you, and felt only irony. In my previous life, she often left me notes like that too. Each time I would be moved, thinking that although she was sometimes willful, she still loved me. I only now realized this was part of her performance. I picked up my phone and dialed a number. Lawyer David, it's me, Ethan. David was my college classmate and now works at the city's best law firm, specializing in divorce cases. In the last life, we rarely kept in touch after graduation, but this time I needed his help. Ethan? What made you think to call me? David's voice was surprised. Is something wrong? I want a divorce, and I need you to handle it for me. I stated my purpose directly. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end of the line. You and Sophia? Haven't you only been married a year? Precisely because it's only been a year, it's better for everyone to separate sooner rather than later, I said. Attorney David, I want this dealt with as quickly as possible. Ethan, divorce isn't a trivial matter. Are you sure you've thought this through? David's voice grew serious. Why don't you try living apart for a while or marriage counseling first? I've already thought it through. I looked at the sunlight outside the window. Can I come to your place this afternoon? Of course. 3 p.m, I'll wait for you at the office. After hanging up, I began to organize my list of assets. Although my current company is not large, its growth momentum is very strong. Following the trajectory from my previous life, it will experience explosive growth in 2 years. Sophia should know this too, which is why she chose to divorce then and take half the assets. But in this life, I will make sure she gets nothing. I opened the safe and took out all the important documents, property deeds, equity certificates, bank deposit statements. I need to ensure each asset has a clear proof of source. Just then, Sophia called. Honey, are you home? Her voice sounded very gentle, nothing like the panic from last night. Yes. Can I come back at noon to cook for you? I took half a day off. I remembered the previous life. She was the same. Every time we fought, she would act especially gentle and virtuous, making me feel like I was being petty. No, it's fine. I'll eat out. I declined her offer. Honey. Sophia's voice turned plaintive. Are you still mad at me? I really know I was wrong. I'm not angry. I just think we need to calm down. Then shall we have dinner together tonight? Let's go to your favorite Italian restaurant. In my previous life, I liked that Italian restaurant the most because it was where we had our first date. But thinking back now, that meal had also been carefully arranged by her to make me grow more attached to her. Sophia, I'm going to the lawyer's this afternoon, I told her directly. The breathing on the other end of the line suddenly sounded a little hurried. You really want a divorce? Yes. Why? Her voice began to tremble. Ethan, what exactly went wrong between us? Tell me, I can change. Some problems can't be solved just by changing. I said, Sophia, our personalities don't match. Our values are different. Forcing it will only hurt each other. You're talking nonsense. We're perfect for each other. Sophia's voice rose. Ethan, have you met someone? Is someone whispering bad things about me in your ear? I couldn't help but laugh. In the previous life, she was the same, always shifting the blame onto others, never admitting it was her fault. No one whispered in my ear. This was my own decision. I won't agree to a divorce. Sophia suddenly shouted, Ethan, I won't consent. It doesn't matter if you don't agree. The court will decide. My tone was very calm. Sophia, think carefully. Does it really make sense for us to go on like this? After hanging up, I looked at Sophia's photo on my phone, my feelings mixed. It's a lie to say I don't hate her. In the last life, she made me suffer in hell for a full 10 years, and in the end she humiliated me, leaving me with nothing. But now, looking at this young face, I remember the sweetness when we first met. Back then she was so innocent and adorable that I thought I'd found true love. Only now do I realize it was a carefully planned deception from the start. She got close to me because she knew my potential, knew I would succeed in the future. She married me so she could later take my wealth. She faked an affair to test the depth of my feelings for her, to make sure I would give up everything for her. This woman's scheming is even deeper than I imagined. At 3 in the afternoon, I arrived at David's office on time. Ethan, you don't look well, David said with concern. Have you really decided to divorce? I have. I handed him the documents I had prepared. This is my list of assets. I want to protect my property to the greatest extent possible. David took the documents and skimmed them, his brow gradually furrowing. Ethan, you've only been married a year. According to marriage law, marital property after marriage is joint property of the spouses. She has the right to take half. I know, I nodded, but my company is premarital property. The appreciation over this year can be considered marital joint property, but the principal should be mine. That can be argued. David wrote notes on the paper. But your house was bought after marriage. She certainly has a share of that. The house. In my previous life, to show my love for her, I deliberately put the property deed in her name. In this life, fortunately, I didn't do that. The down payment for the house came from my premarital savings. I have bank records to prove that, I said. Although we paid the mortgage together, it was mainly me who paid it. Be mentally prepared. Even so, she can still get a portion of the property, David said seriously. Unless you can prove she was at fault. Fault? I remembered what happened between her and Liam in my last life, but it hasn't happened yet, and I have no evidence. I'll find a way, I said. Then I'll draft the divorce agreement first. You can see if there's anything that needs changing. By the time I left the law firm, it was almost dark. I saw Sophia's car parked at the curb. She was on the phone inside. As I approached, I heard her say, I know, I'll handle it. No, not yet. Wait a little longer. She saw me, immediately hung up, and stepped out of the car with a smile. Honey, you're home? I bought groceries. I'm making your favorite pasta tonight. Her smile was very sweet, but I detected calculation in it. Sophia, who were you just on the phone with? I asked. Huh, a friend. Her eyes flickered. A colleague from the company, something work-related. A friend. In my previous life, I asked her this question many times, and each time she answered the same way, and I always chose to believe her. Oh, I nodded, not pressing further. We went upstairs together. Sophia naturally looped her arm through mine as if nothing had happened. But I knew the war had only just begun. Sophia really made spaghetti, along with several of my usual favorite dishes. She sat opposite me, watching me eat gently, occasionally picking food onto my plate. "Husband, how's the spaghetti? Is it a bit salty?" she asked with concern. "It's fine." I ate calmly, showing no sign of anything unusual. "That's good." Sophia breathed a sigh of relief. "Actually, I've been thinking about what happened last night all afternoon. I think maybe my work stress has been too much lately and my temper has gotten worse. Honey, can you forgive me?" Her gaze was very sincere. If I didn't know the truth, I really would have been moved. "Sophia, it's not a question of forgiving or not." I put down my fork. "I want to see a lawyer today." The motion of her picking up a dish froze, and the smile on her face became somewhat strained. "Husband, are you really going to divorce me?" "Yes." I looked at her. "I've already had the lawyer draw up the divorce papers. You'll receive them tomorrow." Sophia's face instantly turned ugly, and the fork fell onto the plate. "Ethan, are you crazy?" Her voice began to tremble. "We only had one fight, and you want a divorce?" "It's not because of a fight," I said calmly. "It's because I discovered we're simply not compatible." "Not compatible where?" "Say it clearly." Sophia stood up, her voice rising. "How have I wronged you? I get up early every day to make you breakfast. I cook for you when you come home from work. I take care of your daily life. What's not good enough about me?" I looked at her angry face with no ripple of feeling in my heart. In my previous life, seeing her angry would have made me ache. I would have thought I'd done something wrong. But now I only thought her performance was clumsy. "Sophia, ask yourself honestly, do you really love me?" I stood up and looked her in the eyes. "Or are you just treating me like a tool?" Her gaze flickered, then tears fell. "How can you say that about me?" "Ethan, aren't my feelings for you obvious? If I didn't love you, why would I marry you?" "Then tell me, why did you marry me?" I pressed on. "Was it because of my character, my looks, or something else?" Sophia was stunned. She clearly hadn't expected me to ask such a direct question. I married you precisely because I love you." Her voice grew smaller and smaller. "What is it about me you love?" I pressed. "Sophia, can you specifically say what it is that you love about me?" She opened her mouth, but couldn't get a word out. Yes, she couldn't say it. Because she had never loved me, she didn't know how to answer the question at all. "Ethan, you're really strange today." Sophia wiped her tears. "You never asked me this kind of question before. I was too foolish before." I sat back in the chair. "Sophia, let's be frank. Did you get close to me because you knew I had potential?" Her expression grew even uglier. "What are you talking about? How could I possibly?" "Then explain why you never let me meet your friends. Why do you always come home so late? Why have you been growing increasingly cold toward me?" I asked 3 questions in a row. Sophia was left speechless by the questions. She sat back in her chair and lowered her head without saying anything. After a long time, she finally looked up at me and said, "Ethan, have you been seeing another woman?" I couldn't help but laugh. As expected, she started changing the subject again. In my previous life, she did the same. Whenever I questioned her, she would turn around and question me. "No," I answered simply. "Then why did you suddenly become like this?" Sophia cried even harder. "Honey, can we stop fighting? I promise I won't make you angry anymore." "Sophia, this isn't a fight. I'm serious." I stood up. "We're not suitable for each other. It's better for everyone if we separate early." "I won't agree," Sophia suddenly shouted. "Ethan, I will never agree to a divorce, even if I die." I looked at her hysterical appearance, feeling not the slightest stir in my heart. "Your refusal doesn't matter. I can file for divorce." My voice was very calm. "The court will decide." "How dare you?" Sophia glared at me. "Ethan, if you dare sue me, I'll make sure you get nothing." Finally revealed her true colors. "What do you want me to do so that I get nothing?" I retorted. Sophia realized she had let something slip. Her face turned very ugly. I didn't mean it like that." "Sophia, I advise you to cooperate with me if you want an amicable split." I looked at her. "Otherwise, taking this to court won't do your reputation any favors." She stared at me for a long time, the emotions in her eyes complex and inscrutable. "Ethan, you've really changed," she murmured. "You've changed into someone I don't even recognize. People grow, I said as I cleaned up the dishes. Sophia, think about my proposal. A divorce by agreement is better for everyone. What if I refuse to divorce? She asked suddenly. Then I'll file a lawsuit, I said without turning my head. I've already made up my mind. That night, Sophia made many more calls. Her voice kept very low, but I still heard some of it. No, he seems to have found out something. I don't know how he suddenly became like this. Don't show up yet. Let me think of a way. She really was discussing strategies with someone else. I lay in bed, thinking about everything from my past life. Back then I chose to ignore any oddness from her, always making excuses for her. In hindsight, those phone calls, those nights coming home late, those inexplicable mood swings, all had reasons. She was plotting with Liam how to squeeze every bit of value out of me. And I, like a fool kept in the dark, still thought I had found true love. The next morning, Sophia made a sumptuous breakfast again. Honey, try this croissant. I got it early from your favorite shop, she said with a beaming smile. I looked at the breakfast on the table, my heart a tangle of emotions. In my previous life, I would have been moved by such small details, would have thought that although she had flaws, she still loved me. Sophia, you don't have to do this anymore, I said. My decision won't change. Her smile froze. Husband, are you really this cruel? Her eyes reddened again. We've been together for so long. Is there really no feeling at all? Yes, I nodded. But feelings can't replace everything. Sophia, the problems between us can't be solved with a single breakfast. She bit her lip and looked at me, a flicker of an emotion I couldn't read passing through her eyes. Ethan, what exactly do you want? She asked suddenly. Tell me. If I can do it, I'll agree to it. I watched her anxious expression and suddenly felt curious about what she would do to salvage this marriage. What I want is very simple, I said. I want a wife who truly loves me, not an actress. Sophia's face went pale in an instant. After that remark from Sophia, she didn't speak again. She ate breakfast with her head down, looking completely dejected. I knew my words had hit her where it hurt. I'm off to work. I stood up to leave. Ethan, wait. Sophia called after me. Tonight, can we talk properly? I nodded. Okay. On the way to work, I received a call from David. Ethan, I've already drafted the divorce agreement. Come over and see if there's anything you want changed. Okay, I'll come by at noon. When I arrived at the company, my assistant Mark told me that someone named Liam had been looking for me. I was taken aback. Liam had already shown up? What did he say? I tried to make my voice sound normal. He said he's a friend of Mrs. Taylor and wants to talk to you about something. Mark said. I told him you were in a meeting. He left a phone number. I took the slip of paper, looked at the number, and sneered inwardly. Has this Liam already started getting restless? I didn't call him back. Instead, I focused on my work. At noon, I went to David's law firm. The agreement I've already reviewed. There are basically no issues. I said to David, when can it be delivered to her? Tomorrow. David looked at me. Ethan, are you really sure? I met this Sophia. She's very pretty, and her personality is quite good. Appearances can be deceiving. I said lightly, Lawyer David, I'm serious about this. All right, I'll arrange for someone to deliver it tomorrow. David nodded. But be mentally prepared. She might not agree easily. I know. When I returned to the office, I found a bouquet of flowers on my desk and a card. The card read, Husband, I love you. No matter what happens, I will not give up on our marriage. Always loving you, Sophia. Looking at the card, I remembered that in my previous life, she often wrote things like this to me. Back then, I would be so moved, I was senselessly happy, thinking I was the luckiest man in the world. Now I only felt disgust. I threw the flowers into the trash can and tore the card to pieces. In the afternoon, Liam came again. Mr. Johnson, I'm Liam, Sophia's friend. He stood at my office door, smiling brightly. May I have a few minutes of your time? I sized the man up. About 26 or 27, quite handsome. No wonder Sophia would be attracted to him. Please sit. I made a gesture. Mr. Chun, what did you want to see me about? It's like this. Sophia hasn't been feeling well lately, and as a friend, I'm very worried about her. Liam sat down. She said you misunderstood her and wanted a divorce. This is a matter between my wife and me. My voice was cold. Mr. Chun, as an outsider, aren't you meddling a bit too much? Liam's smile was a little forced. Mr. Johnson, Sophia and I are just ordinary friends. I only care about her, that's all. Just friends. I cut him off. Mr. Chun, my wife was with you until very late last night. Is it the just friends relationship you mean? His expression changed. Mr. Johnson, you misunderstood. Last night, we only had dinner together. Dinner that lasted until the middle of the night. I stood up. Mr. Chun, I advise you to stay away from my wife. Mr. Johnson, you really have the wrong idea. Liam also stood up. Sophia is a very good girl. You shouldn't treat her like this. You don't get to tell me whether she's good or not. I walked up to him. Mr. Chun, please leave my office. Liam looked at me, a flash of anger crossing his eyes, but he quickly returned to smiling. Mr. Johnson, I hope you can handle your family matters calmly. He said that and left. I watched his retreating figure, a bitter smile on my heart. This person really can't keep his temper. In the last life, he never showed himself until Sophia and I divorced, but this time he popped up so early. It seems my reaction exceeded their expectations. When I got home that night, Sophia had already prepared a table full of dishes. Honey, you're back? She greeted me with a smile. I made your favorite sweet and sour spare ribs. Sophia, your friend came to see me today. I took off my coat. Liam, her movement visibly froze for a moment. Then she quickly returned to normal. Liam, what did he want from you? Her voice sounded natural, but I noticed her hands trembling. He said he was worried about you and wanted me not to divorce you. I looked at her. Sophia, did you tell outsiders about our issues? I was just in a bad mood and chatted with a friend for a few minutes. Sophia lowered her head. Honey, please don't be mad, okay? I'm not angry. I sat down at the dining table. But I hope we don't involve outsiders in our private matters. I know I won't do it again. Sophia sat opposite me. Honey, let's eat. While we ate, Sophia kept trying to liven the mood, but I could tell she was distracted. Husband, is the company busy today? She asked. Not really. I want to take the day off tomorrow to be with you. Shall we go see a movie together? No need. I'm very busy tomorrow. Sophia bit her lip, looking very aggrieved. Honey, can you tell me, what exactly did I do wrong? Her eyes reddened again. If you tell me, can I change? I put down my fork and looked at her. Sophia, the problem isn't what you did wrong. It's that everything you did wasn't sincere. What do you mean? Her voice trembled slightly. Your concern for me, your gentleness, your thoughtfulness, it's all an act, I said calmly. Sophia, aren't you tired? She stared at me with wide eyes, her expression turning ugly. Ethan, what are you talking about? How could I? You can keep denying it. I cut her off, but Sophia, I've seen through it. She opened her mouth, but couldn't get a word out. After a long while, she choked out, Husband, even if I've done things wrong, my feelings for you are real. Can't you give me a chance? I've already given you chances many times. I stood up. Sophia, you'll receive the divorce papers tomorrow. Think it over. I won't sign, she suddenly shouted. Ethan, I would never sign it even if I died. Then we'll see each other in court. I walked toward the study without looking back. Sophia's cries came from behind me, but I did not turn around. That night, I heard Sophia on the phone in the living room, her voice very agitated. No, he really seems to have made up his mind. I don't know what to do either. Don't worry. Let me think of something else. The next morning, Sophia's eyes were swollen like walnuts, clearly from crying all night. Honey, I made oatmeal porridge. Have some before you go to work. Her voice was hoarse. I took a few sips of the porridge and prepared to leave. Ethan, Sophia called after me. Are you really unwilling to give us another chance? I turned and looked at her haggard appearance, and for a moment my heart wavered. But I soon remembered the sneer on her face when she brought Liam home in the previous life, and the humiliating thing she said to me. There's no chance, I said, then left the house. At 10 in the morning, David called and said the divorce papers had been served to Sophia. She reacted violently and actually chase the process server away, David said. But the legal documents have been served. Whether she accepts them or not doesn't matter. I understand. In the afternoon, Sophia came to my office. She was wearing my favorite white dress, with exquisite makeup, looking delicate and charming. "Mr. Johnson, your wife is here," Mark said at the door. "Let her in." Sophia walked in the office, closed the door, and then came up to me. "Honey, can we talk?" Her voice was very gentle. "About what?" I didn't look up, continuing to read the documents. "Let's talk about our marriage." She sat down across from me. "Honey, I received the divorce papers, but I won't sign them." "I know." I looked up at her. "So I'm filing a lawsuit." "Why?" Sophia's tears fell. "Ethan, we could clearly have a good life together. Why do you insist on divorcing?" "Because I'm tired," I said. "Sophia, I don't want to continue this game any longer." "What game?" "I don't understand." I looked at her innocent expression and couldn't help but laugh. "Sophia, have you finished acting?" When Sophia heard my words, her face instantly went pale. "Husband, what are you saying?" "I don't understand." Her voice began to tremble. "Still going to keep pretending?" I leaned back against the chair. "Sophia, what is your real purpose for getting close to me? Why did you marry me? You know that better than I do." She widened her eyes at me, as if seeing me for the first time. "Ethan, how can you think that of me? I married you because I truly love you." "Sincere?" I sneered. "Then tell me, who is Liam?" Sophia's body visibly trembled. "He's just my friend, a normal friend." She forced a smile. "Honey, don't overthink it." "A normal friend?" I took a photo from the drawer and pushed it in front of her, then explained this. It was a photo of Sophia and Liam together, their arms linked, looking very close. I had accidentally found the picture on her phone in my previous life. At the time, she said it was a photo with a friend, nothing special. Looking back now, they were already together then. Sophia's face grew even more sullen when she saw the photo. Where did you get this photo?" she asked, her voice almost trembling. "It doesn't matter." I took the photo back. "What matters is how you explain it." Sophia opened her mouth, but couldn't find the words. "Sophia, I'm giving you one last chance." I looked at her. "Tell me the truth. What is your real purpose in getting close to me?" She kept her head down and was silent for a long time. The office was very quiet. Only the ticking of the clock on the wall could be heard. After a long while, Sophia finally looked up at me, a chill in her eyes I had never seen before. "Ethan, you want to know the truth?" Her voice grew very calm. "All right, I'll tell you." I watched her, waiting for her answer. "I approached you, not because of love." Sophia's mouth curled into a mocking smile. "Liam and I are indeed lovers. We've been together since college." Finally, she told the truth. Although I had long known the facts, hearing her admit it with my own ears still made my heart ache sharply. "Why?" I tried to make my voice sound calm. "Since you have a boyfriend, why did you marry me?" "Because of the money." Sophia said bluntly. "Ethan, don't play innocent. Do you think I would ever fall in love with a man like you?" Her words stabbed into my heart like a knife. "What do you mean by a man like me?" I asked. "Honest, dull, without any sense of fun, good for nothing except having a bit of money." Sophia's tone turned cutting. "Ethan, have you looked in a mirror? Do you really think with your qualities you could find a woman like me?" I looked at her as if I were meeting her for the first time. This was the woman I had loved for 10 years, the woman I was willing to give everything for. "So you married me for the money?" I asked on. "Of course," Sophia said without hiding it. "I investigated you, knew your company had potential, knew you would succeed in the future. So I chose you." "What about Liam? What role does he play in all this?" "He's my boyfriend, always has been." Sophia stood up. "We planned to wait until your company got big, then divorce and split the assets." "I see." I nodded. "Then why the rush? I remember you just begged me not to divorce." Sophia froze for a moment, clearly not expecting me to ask that question. Because the timing isn't right yet." Her voice was somewhat uncertain. "Your company hasn't met our expectations yet." I couldn't help but laugh. "Sophia, do you know what I admire most about you right now?" "What?" You're acting. I looked at her. These past 3 years, you've played the part too well. The gentle, virtuous wife, the woman who loves her husband deeply. You acted so convincingly, I almost believed it. Sophia's expression changed. What, 3 years? We've only been married for a year. Damn, I let the cat out of the bag. I mean, if we were to go through with it. I quickly added, Sophia, your plan is perfect, but you underestimated me. What do you mean? I already know your entire plan. I took a voice recorder out of the drawer, including your conversations with Liam. Sophia's face went instantly pale. You secretly recorded me? That's not secretly recording. That's gathering evidence. I looked at her. Sophia, you think your plan is flawless, but it showed its flaws long ago. She slumped into the chair, looking completely distraught. Now I'm giving you 2 choices. I continued. First, obediently sign the divorce papers. I can give you some money to let you leave. Second, I submit this evidence to the court, and then not only will you get nothing, you may also face charges of fraud. Sophia looked up at me, her eyes full of disbelief. Ethan, how did you become like this? People grow up. My voice was very calm. Sophia, which one will you choose? She was silent for a long time, then suddenly began to cry. Honey, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. She knelt before me. Will you give me one more chance? I can break up with Liam. I can be sincere with you. I looked at her kneeling on the floor. I felt nothing. Sophia, some things, once they happen, can't be undone, I said. Your tears have no effect on me. No, you used to be so hurt when you saw me cry. Sophia grabbed my leg. Honey, can we start over? I promise I'll be sincere with you from now on. It's too late. I pushed her away. Sophia, what is your choice? She looked at me, the despair in her eyes growing deeper. If I choose the first one, how much will you give me? She finally came back to reality. $500,000. I said, enough for you and Liam to live on for a while. She bit her lip, thinking for a long time. I need time to think. I'll give you 3 days. I glanced at my watch. 3 days from now I'll file for divorce. Sophia stood up and straightened her clothes. Ethan, you've really changed. Her voice was very calm. You've become someone I don't recognize at all. It was you who never really knew me. I said, Sophia, 3 days, think it over carefully. She didn't say anything more and turned to leave my office. I watched her walk away, my feelings a complicated mix. Finally, this farce was about to end. But I knew Sophia wouldn't give up easily. She surely had more tricks waiting for me. Sure enough, that night when I returned home, I found guests in the house. Sophia's parents were sitting in the living room, and they stood up when they saw me come in. Ethan, you're back. Mrs. Taylor, Sophia's mother, said with a smile. We just arrived. Sophia is in the kitchen cooking. I looked at them, a cold sneer forming in my heart. Sophia had brought reinforcements. Hello, Uncle and Aunt. I greeted politely. Ethan, Sophia told me you two have been having problems? Mr. Taylor looked at me. Young people, a few quarrels are normal. Don't talk about divorce at the drop of a hat. Here we go. Mr. Taylor, this isn't a few quarrels. I sat down. Sophia and I don't share the same values, and our personalities don't match. How don't they match? Mrs. Taylor grew agitated. Sophia is such a good girl. Where would you find another like her? A good girl? If you knew what her daughter had done, you might not say that. Auntie, there are some things you may not be aware of, I said. What things? Mr. Taylor asked. Just then, Sophia came out of the kitchen. Mom, Dad, please don't ask. Her eyes were still swollen and red. This is between Ethan and me. Between you two? Mrs. Taylor said displeased. Sophia, tell your mother. What exactly happened? Sophia glanced at me, a plea in her eyes. She was begging me not to reveal the truth. Sophia has another man outside. I said calmly. The living room fell silent instantly. Mr. Taylor and Mrs. Taylor stared at Sophia with wide eyes, incredulously asking, Sophia, is this true? Sophia's face turned very ugly. She said nothing. Nonsense. Mrs. Taylor stood up. Ethan, how can you slander Sophia like this? How could she possibly do such a thing? Aunt, I have evidence. I took out the photo. This is a picture of Sophia with her boyfriend. Mr. Taylor took the photo and looked at it. His face turned ugly. Sophia, who is this man? He asked in a deep voice. Sophia kept her head down and said nothing. Sophia, answer your father's question, I said. She looked up at me, her eyes full of hatred. His name is Liam. He's my friend. Friend? Mr. Taylor's voice rose. Would a friend link arms like this? Dad, Sophia. Mr. Taylor stood up. Tell me the truth. Sophia was frightened. She trembled and said, It's my boyfriend. Mrs. Taylor plopped down on the sofa, her face ashen. Sophia, how? How could you do something like this? She asked, trembling. You're married. Mom, Sophia knelt before Mrs. Taylor. I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Mr. Taylor was trembling with anger. You unfilial woman. How did I give birth to a daughter like you? Watching this family's farce, I felt no pleasure at all. I just wanted to end all of it as soon as possible. The Sue family's family meeting lasted a full 2 hours. Mr. Taylor was so angry his face turned pale. Mrs. Taylor cried until her eyes were red, and Sophia knelt on the ground, apologizing nonstop. Dad, Mom, I really know I was wrong. Sophia said through tears. I will cut ties with him. I will treat Ethan well. What's the use of saying that now? Mr. Taylor said angrily. You've ruined the Taylor family's reputation. Uncle, please calm down. I pretended to console him. Your health is more important. Ethan, I am so sorry. Mrs. Taylor wiped her tears. We didn't raise our daughter well and made you suffer. Andy, please don't say that. I replied politely, It's not your fault. Ethan, can you forgive Sophia? Mr. Taylor looked at me. She's still young and ignorant. Can you give her a chance? I looked at Sophia kneeling on the floor. She looked up at me as well, her eyes full of expectation. Uncle, some things can't be solved by forgiveness. I shook my head. Once trust is broken, it's very hard to rebuild. You mean you insist on a divorce? Mr. Taylor asked. Yes. I nodded. I made up my mind. Sophia worsened in her crying when she heard me. Husband, I'm begging you. Please give me one more chance, okay? She crawled in front of me. I swear I'll sever all ties with Liam. I'll be a good wife. Sophia, I don't believe a single word you say. I looked at her coldly. Because you've never told the truth. This time I'm telling the truth. Sophia said urgently. Honey, I swear, if I ever get involved with another man again, may I be struck by lightning. What good does swearing do? I stood up. Sophia, there's no way to fix this anymore. No, I don't believe it. Sophia clung to my leg. Honey, you loved me so much before. How could you just stop loving me like that? I used to truly love her so much I would give everything for her. But now I've seen her true colors, and that love died long ago. People change. I push her away. Sophia, you've changed too, haven't you? She froze, then began to cry even more wildly. Ethan, let's talk. Mr. Taylor stood up. Come out with me for a moment. I followed Mr. Taylor out to the balcony. Ethan, I know Sophia did wrong. Mr. Taylor's voice was heavy. But after all, you two are husband and wife. Can't this be settled without getting to the point of divorce? Uncle, I understand your thinking, but our problems are too serious, I said. Besides, Sophia's infidelity didn't happen overnight. What do you mean? Her relationship with that Liam started before we got married. I looked at Mr. Taylor. She didn't marry me for love at all. Mr. Taylor's expression grew even uglier. Are you saying she did it for money? Yes. I nodded. She and Liam planned to wait until my career took off, then divorce and split the assets. Mr. Taylor staggered at the words, almost unable to keep his balance. How is this possible? He asked in disbelief. Sophia, how could she do something like this? Uncle, I have evidence. I took out the voice recorder. This is the recording of her conversation with Liam. I played a recording that clearly captured Sophia and Liam discussing how to swindle my inheritance. Mr. Taylor turned pale after hearing that. This unfilial daughter, This unfilial daughter. He angrily pounded the railing. How did I end up with such a daughter? Uncle, please don't get too worked up. I steadied him. Your health is more important. Ethan, on behalf of the Taylor family, I apologize to you. Mr. Taylor bowed deeply. We failed to raise our daughter properly and caused you suffering. Uncle, please don't say that. I hurriedly helped him up. This isn't your fault. I will handle this. Mr. Taylor's voice was firm. She must sign the divorce agreement. We returned to the living room. Mr. Taylor's face was dark and terrifying. Sophia, come here, he said in a deep voice. Sophia walked over trembling. Slap. Mr. Taylor slapped Sophia hard. You unfilial daughter, he said angrily. Do you know what you have done? Sophia covered her face, eyes full of terror. Dad, Shut up. Mr. Taylor interrupted her. You will sign the divorce papers right now. Dad, I don't want a divorce. Sophia cried. I'll really change. Change? You have the nerve to talk about changing. Mr. Taylor shook with fury. You married me under false pretenses from the start. How do you have the face to stay here? Old Sue, don't be so agitated. Mrs. Taylor was also crying as she tried to persuade Sophia. Don't speak for her either. Mr. Taylor turned to Mrs. Taylor. It's because you've spoiled her too much all along. Husband, I'm begging you. Please don't get a divorce, okay? Sophia knelt in front of me. I could do anything to make it up to you, really anything I am willing to do. Anything. I looked at her. Then go turn yourself in. What? Sophia was stunned. Turn yourself in at the police station and admit to committing marriage fraud, I said coldly. It's the most meaningful thing you can do. Sophia's face went ashen. No, I can't turn myself in, she said, trembling. Then signed the divorce agreement. I took out the agreement. Sophia, this is your last chance. She looked at the agreement, her hand trembling. If I sign, will you really give me $500,000? I keep my word. I nodded. Sophia hesitated for a long time and finally picked up the pen. Wait. She suddenly stopped. I have a condition. What condition? I want $1 million. She looked at me. $500,000 is too little. I couldn't help but laugh. This woman was still haggling at this point. Sophia, you don't have a right to bargain, I said. Either $500,000 or nothing. You. She gritted her teeth and looked at me. Ethan, are you really that heartless? I have to be heartless to you, I said without mercy. Mr. Taylor couldn't stand it and snatched the pen, signing Sophia's name himself. Dad, Sophia cried. Shut up, Mr. Taylor snapped. Are you not embarrassed enough already? I took the agreement, glanced at the signatures. Good. I nodded. Sophia, tomorrow I'll arrange for someone to handle the divorce paperwork. Prepare your ID card and household registration book. Ethan, where's the money? Sophia asked. I'll transfer it to you after the paperwork is done, I said. That night, the Taylor family left. When Sophia left, she glanced back at me, her eyes full of hatred. Ethan, you'll regret this, she said through gritted teeth. I won't regret it, I replied calmly, but you certainly will. She said nothing more and left with her parents. I looked at the empty house, feeling no attachment. This farce is finally coming to an end, but I know Sophia won't give up so easily. She will surely find a way to get back at me. Sure enough, the next morning I received a call from Liam. Mr. Johnson, let's meet. His voice was very grim. There are some things we need to talk about. Sure. I agreed readily. When? 3 this afternoon. The usual place. The usual place? I remembered that in my previous life, the last time Liam threatened me was in a secluded cafe. It seems that in this life, they still plan to use the same tricks. Okay, I'll be there on time, I said. Mr. Johnson, you'd better think it through, Liam warned. Some things, once they happen, there is no turning back. I'm looking forward to it. I hung up. At 3 in the afternoon, I arrived at the cafe on time. Liam was already there waiting for me, with 2 burly men seated beside him. Mr. Johnson, you're here. Liam stood up, a sinister smile on his face. Mr. Chun, what do you want with me? I sat down and asked calmly. It's like this. Sophia told me you want to divorce her. Liam's voice grew dark. That makes me very unhappy. So what? I retorted. Mr. Johnson, I advise you to withdraw the divorce filing. Liam threatened, or there will be serious consequences. I looked at the two hulking men beside him and couldn't help but laugh. Mr. Chun, are you threatening me? You can take it that way, Liam said without hiding it. Mr. Johnson, we don't want to make a big scene, but if you insist on divorcing, then what do you want? I interrupted him. Very simple. Liam smiled wickedly. Mr. Johnson, your company is doing well. If something unexpected happened, the losses would be considerable, right? I understand. They intend to go after my company. Mr. Chun, do you think I would be afraid of your threats? I looked at him. Do you think I wasn't prepared? What do you mean? Liam paused, startled. I took out my phone and played a recording. It was precisely what we had just been discussing. It clearly recorded his threats. Mr. Chun, extortion is a serious crime. I looked at his terrified face. How do you think the police would react if I handed this recording over? Liam's face instantly turned ashen. You recorded it? Of course. I put away my phone. Mr. Chun, I advise you to be honest. Don't do anything foolish. Liam and the two big men looked at each other, clearly not expecting me to be prepared. Mr. Johnson, we were just joking. Liam forced a smile. A joke. I stood up. Mr. Chun, I hope this is the last time we meet. If you dare harass me again, I will not hesitate to call the police. After saying that, I left the cafe. Angry curses from Liam came from behind, but I didn't look back. Those little tricks might have worked on my past self, but to me now they were insignificant. I was already prepared to deal with all of their tactics. The divorce papers were processed very smoothly. Sophia didn't speak at all during the whole process. She simply went through the motions. Her eyes were hollow, as if her soul had been lost. All right, the paperwork is finished. The clerk handed us the divorce certificate. I wish you both new happiness. I took the divorce certificate and felt a weight lift from my chest. Finally free. Sophia was also holding her copy of the divorce certificate, standing there in a daze. Sophia, I've already transferred the money to your account, I told her. Let's never see each other again. She looked up at me, her eyes full of complicated emotions. Ethan, do you really not miss the past at all? Her voice was very hoarse. Miss the past? I sneered. Did we ever have real feelings between us? She opened her mouth, but couldn't say anything. Sophia, you know it best yourself. I turned to leave. From the very beginning, you never treated this marriage sincerely. Wait, Sophia called after me. Ethan, I want to ask you a question. What question? When did you start doubting me? She looked at me. Was it from very early on? I looked at her, a wave of desolation welling up inside me. If I hadn't been reborn, I might never have doubted her. In my last life, I kept making excuses for her until the end, until she spoke those cruel words herself. From the first night, you didn't come home. I didn't tell her the truth. Sophia, a woman who truly loves her husband, wouldn't do that. She lowered her head and was silent for a long time. If I had been sincere with you back then, would the outcome have been different? She asked suddenly. No ifs. I looked at her. Sophia, you've already made your choice. Now just bear the consequences. I will regret it, won't I? She said with a bitter smile. Maybe. I shrugged. But that's none of my business anymore. After saying that, I left the Civil Affairs Bureau. Back at the company, I felt much lighter. It was like taking off a huge burden. Mr. Johnson, you seem to be in a good mood. Assistant Mark said with a smile. Yes, one worry has been resolved. I nodded. By the way, anything important coming up lately? There's good news. Mark said excitedly. Johnson Group wants to cooperate with us. Their representatives will come over tomorrow to discuss. Johnson Group. My heart jolted. This is a turning point. In my previous life, it was precisely the collaboration with Johnson Group that brought me tremendous success in my career. But by then, Sophia had already begun planning the divorce. She had been waiting for this opportunity, waiting to divorce and split the assets once I truly succeeded. Now it's fine. She gets nothing. Great, I said with a smile. When is tomorrow's meeting scheduled? 2 in the afternoon. Mark said, Mr. Johnson, If this collaboration succeeds, our company will reach a new level. Yes. I nodded. Prepare well. Don't make any mistakes. That night, I ate instant noodles alone in the empty house, yet I felt very cheerful. Without Sophia's fake concern, without her acting and deception, life actually felt more real. At that moment, the doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole, and, to my surprise, it was Liam. He stood alone outside the door, his expression sullen. I opened the door and looked at him coldly. Mr. Chun, what are you doing here? Ethan, we need to talk. Liam pushed me aside and walked into the room. About Sophia. Your business is none of mine. I closed the door. Sophia and I are already divorced. It's precisely because of the divorce that I want to talk to you. Liam turned to look at me, his eyes full of anger. Do you know what state Sophia is in right now? I don't know, and I don't want to know. I sat down on the sofa. Mr. Chun, spit it out. I need to rest. Sophia is insane, Liam shouted. She cries all day, won't eat, won't speak, like a mad woman. There was not a ripple in my heart. That's her business, none of my concern. How is that none of your concern? Liam said angrily. It's all because of you. If you hadn't suddenly wanted a divorce, she wouldn't have become like this. I couldn't help but laugh. Mr. Chun, you're mistaken about one thing, I said to him. I divorced not because I discovered your relationship, but because I no longer wanted to be deceived. What do you mean? I knew about your plan a long time ago, I said calmly. Sophia's acting is very good, but it's not flawless. Liam was stunned. When did you find out? From the very beginning, I lied. Mr. Chun, you thought you were clever, but you had been exposed long ago. His expression turned very ugly. Since you knew long ago, why didn't you get a divorce sooner? Because I wanted to see how far you could act. I stood up. Now I've seen enough, so I choose to end this farce. Ethan, you're so cruel. Liam pointed at me. Sophia loves you so much. How could you do this to her? Love me? I sneered. Mr. Chun, are you kidding? She loves my money, not me as a person. No. Liam suddenly became agitated. Sophia, she really fell in love with you. I was stunned. What? Sophia told me that during her time living with you, she truly fell in love with you. Liam's voice began to tremble. She said she wanted to break up with me, to sincerely live with you. How could that be possible? I looked at Liam, trying to find traces of lies in his expression, but he seemed genuinely sincere. You're lying to me, I said. I'm not lying to you, Liam said loudly. Why do you think she's in so much pain now? If she doesn't love you, a divorce should be a relief for her. I fell silent. Indeed, if Sophia didn't love me, a divorce should be good for her. She could take $500,000 and start over with Liam. So why would she be in such agony? Even if she has fallen in love with me, so what? I forced myself to calm down. Mr. Chun, some mistakes, once made, cannot be undone. But she really knows she was wrong. Liam pleaded. Ethan, can you give her a chance? She really loves you. It's too late. I turned away without looking at him. Mr. Chun, please leave. Ethan. Liam suddenly dropped to his knees in front of me. I'm begging you, remarry Sophia. I was startled by his action. What were you doing? I'm begging you. Liam began to cry. Sophia will really die. She hasn't eaten anything for 3 days straight. A shock ran through me. Sophia wants to kill herself? Why isn't she eating? I couldn't help asking. She said life has no meaning. Liam wiped his tears. She said without you, she's nothing. My heart began to waver. No, I can't be swayed by his words. Sophia is a very good actress. This could be another one of her schemes. Mr. Chun, please get up. I helped him to his feet. You deal with Sophia's matter. It has nothing to do with me. Ethan, are you really that heartless? Liam looked at me. Even if she did wrong before, she truly knows she was wrong now. I've said it before. Some mistakes can't be undone. I stood by my position. Liam looked at me, his eyes full of despair. Ethan, I'll tell you a secret, he said suddenly. Actually, Sophia and I never had a physical relationship. What? I was stunned. We were just pretending. Liam continued. Sophia kept herself pure. She said she wanted to save herself for someone who truly loved her. My mind felt completely muddled. How is that possible? If they never slept together, then why did Sophia deceive me like this? You're lying, I said. I'm not lying, Liam said urgently. Ethan, you can go to the hospital and check. Sophia is still a virgin. My worldview began to collapse. If what Liam said was true, what would that mean? So, does that mean Sophia, although deceiving me, has remained faithful to the marriage? So, does that mean she was close to me for the money, but really fell in love with me during our time together? No, I can't be fooled by their new scheme. Mr. Chun, I won't believe anything you say. I forced myself to stay calm. Please leave at once. Liam looked at me, his eyes full of disappointment. Ethan, you'll regret this. He said that and left. I sat alone in the living room, my emotions too complicated to describe. Were Liam's words true or false? Has Sophia really fallen in love with me? Or was this another new scam? I picked up my phone, hesitated for a long time, and in the end still didn't make the call. No matter what, I can't be fooled by them anymore. But that night, I couldn't sleep. The next day's partnership negotiations went very smoothly. The representatives from a Johnson group were very interested in our project, and a preliminary cooperation intention was reached. Mr. Johnson, this collaboration is a win-win for both parties. Mr. Johnson of the Johnson Group said with a smile, we anticipate this project will bring your company at least $30 million in revenue. $30 million. This is even higher than I expected. In my previous life, I recall the returns on this project were around $20 million. Thank you for your trust, Mr. Johnson. I shook his hand. We definitely won't let the Johnson Group down. Then it's settled. Our legal department will draft the formal contract as soon as possible. Mr. Johnson stood up to leave. Mr. Johnson, I look forward to our cooperation. After seeing Mr. Johnson off, I was in a great mood. The success of this project meant my company would finally take off. And most importantly, Sophia would no longer be able to take a single cent from it. Mr. Johnson, congratulations, Mark said excitedly. Now our company is really going to prosper. Yes, I nodded. Let's treat everyone to dinner tonight to celebrate. Just then my phone rang. It was an unknown number. Hello, is this Mr. Ethan? I'm a nurse from the City People's Hospital. A woman named Sophia Taylor is currently in our emergency department. Your name is listed as her emergency contact. I felt a jolt in my chest. What's happened to her? The patient attempted suicide, cut their wrist, and lost too much blood. They're currently in the emergency room. The nurse's voice was very serious. Please come as soon as you can. I hung up the phone, completely stunned. Did Sophia really kill herself? Mr. Johnson, you don't look well. What's wrong? Mark asked with concern. I have an emergency to deal with. I hurriedly packed my things. Postpone the celebration banquet until tomorrow. When I drove to the hospital, Liam was sitting at the emergency room door, his hands covering his face as he cried. Liam, you walked over. He looked up and saw me, a flicker of surprise crossing his eyes. Why are you here? The hospital called me. I sat down beside him. How is Sophia? Still in surgery. Liam's voice was hoarse. The doctors say it's touch and go. She's lost too much blood. I stared at the closed emergency room doors, my feelings a tangle. Why did she try to kill herself? I asked. Because of you. Liam looked at me. Ethan, I already told you yesterday. She really loved you. If she really loved me, why did she deceive me from the start? I asked in return. Because she was afraid. Liam grew emotional. She was afraid that a man as outstanding as you wouldn't like a girl as ordinary as her. Ordinary? I sneered. How is she ordinary? She's ordinary when she's around you. Liam stood up. Ethan, do you know Sophia's family background? I was momentarily stunned. It's true. I knew very little about Sophia's past. She grew up in a single-parent household. Her mother raised her alone, and life was very hard. Liam continued. Her getting close to you. At first it was indeed to change her fate. Then why drag you into it? Because she doesn't believe in pure love in this world. Liam's voice was full of pain. She thinks men are pragmatic, that they'll change their minds, so she wanted to leave herself a way out. I fell silent. But while being with you, she realized you weren't what she imagined. Liam continued. You were genuinely good to her, not because of her beauty, but because you loved her as a person. So she fell in love with me? Yes. Liam nodded. She told me she had never experienced being truly loved. Being with you made her feel like the happiest woman in the world. So why didn't she just tell me? I asked. She was afraid. Liam said painfully. She was afraid you'd leave her if you knew the truth. She was afraid of losing this hard-won happiness. I felt as if something had clenched my heart tightly. So she chose to keep deceiving me? She wanted to wait for the right moment to tell you the truth, Liam said, looking at me. But you suddenly asked for a divorce and scared her. The door to the emergency room suddenly opened and a doctor came out. Doctor, how was the patient? Liam and I stood up at the same time. She's been resuscitated, but she's not yet out of the danger period. The doctor removed his mask. Family should be mentally prepared. What do you mean? I pressed. The patient lost a lot of blood and may have sequelae. The doctor looked at us. And her will to survive is very weak, which is bad for recovery. A cold weight sank in my chest. Can we go in and see her? Liam asked. Yes, but don't upset her, the doctor warned. We walked into the ward and saw Sophia lying in the hospital bed, her face as white as paper, her wrist wrapped in thick bandages. Her eyes were closed. She looked very weak. Sophia? Liam called softly to her. She slowly opened her eyes. When she saw us, a flash of surprise crossed her face. Ethan. Her voice was very weak. Why are you here? The hospital called me. I walked to the bedside. Sophia, why would you do something so stupid? She looked at me, tears welling in her eyes. Because without you, my life has no meaning, she choked out. Sophia, is what you're doing worth it? I asked, looking at her weakened state, my heart full of mixed emotions. Worth it, she nodded. If it makes you know that I truly love you, then it's worth it. I fell silent. Ethan, I know I was wrong, Sophia said with difficulty. I shouldn't have deceived you from the start. I shouldn't have involved Liam in our relationship. Then why did you do it? I asked. Because I was afraid. She cried harder. I was afraid a man as good as you wouldn't truly love me. I was afraid that one day you would grow tired of me and leave. So you prepared an escape in advance? Yes, she admitted. I thought this would protect me, but I was wrong. Where did you go wrong? I was wrong to underestimate the power of love. Sophia looked at me. Ethan, I've really fallen in love with you. From the bottom of my heart. I looked into her sincere eyes, and my heart began to waver. Maybe what she said is true. Maybe she really did fall in love with me during the time we spent together. But she hurt my trust. Can that wound ever heal? Sophia, some things, once they happen, can't be undone, I said. I know, she nodded. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just want you to know that my love for you is real. If you really loved me, why would you threaten me with suicide? I asked. I didn't threaten you. Sophia said urgently, I just feel that living is too painful. Having lost you, I truly don't know what to do. Her words softened me. Sophia, take care of your wounds. I stood up. We'll talk about the rest later. Ethan, would you forgive me? She asked, looking at me expectantly. I looked at her, struggling inside. Reason told me I shouldn't trust her again, but emotionally I couldn't bear to see her in such pain. I need time to think, I finally said. A glimmer of hope appeared on Sophia's face. Thank you, she said weakly. Thank you for being willing to give me a chance. I didn't say anything else and turned to leave the ward. After leaving the hospital, my feelings were complicated. How much of what Sophia said was true? Did she really fall in love with me? Or was this yet another, deeper deception? I don't know how to judge anymore. I sat in the living room, staring blankly when I got home that night. Sophia's words kept replaying in my mind, along with images of her weakened state. If she really loved me, shouldn't I give her a chance? But if she's still lying to me, wouldn't I be repeating the same mistake? I picked up my phone intending to send Sophia a message, but after thinking for a long time, I still didn't know what to say. In the end, I put the phone down. This matter needs careful consideration. I must not act impulsively. But one thing I'm very certain of, whether Sophia is sincere or not, I will no longer blindly trust her like I used to. If we were to start over, she had to prove her sincerity to me. Moreover, she had to pay for her deception. Over the next few days, I visited Sophia in the hospital every day. Her body was slowly recovering, but her mental state was still very poor. "Ethan, can you sit with me and talk?" Sophia looked at me, her eyes full of expectation. "Sure." I sat on the chair by the bed. "What do you want to talk about?" "I want to tell you about the first time we met." A trace of tenderness flashed in Sophia's eyes. "It was in the university library." I nodded. "Indeed, we met in the library. That day, I was looking for a professional book, but the bookshelf was too high and I couldn't reach it." Sophia smiled as she recalled. "Then you appeared and helped me take the book down." "I remember." I said. "Do you know what I was thinking at the time?" Sophia looked at me. "I was thinking this boy is so gentle, his eyes are very pure, not like other guys who look at me with lecherous gazes." I listened in silence. "From that moment, I began to have feelings for you," Sophia continued, "but I didn't dare to express them because I felt unworthy of you." "Why did you think that?" I couldn't help asking. "Because you are too outstanding." Sophia's voice grew a little choked. "You have good grades, you're handsome, your family situation is better than mine, and I'm just an ordinary girl." "Sophia, everyone has their own worth." I said, "But I didn't think that way then." She shook her head. "I felt my only advantage was that I looked decent. So when Liam courted me, I agreed." "Liam?" I frowned. "He was a classmate from high school who had always had a crush on me," Sophia explained. "I was with him just to prove that someone liked me too. And then, later I realized I didn't love him at all." Sophia looked at me. "When I was with him, I always thought of you. I thought of your gentle smile. I thought of your clear eyes. I was somewhat moved, but I still remained rational." "So, you planned a scheme to get close to me?" "Yes," Sophia admitted. "I had Liam help me because I wanted to win you. By deceiving me, I know it's wrong." Tears fell from Sophia's eyes. "But I really want to be with you. I'm afraid if I pursue you directly, you'd refuse me. So you pretended to be single, letting me think you were a good girl?" "Yes." She nodded. "Ethan, I know this is despicable, but I really had no other way." I watched her cry, feeling conflicted. "When did you really start loving me?" I asked. "From our first date," Sophia said without hesitation. "That day you took me to the movies, and after it ended we walked across campus together. You casually took off your coat and draped it over me. In that moment, I knew I had fallen in love with you. I remember that night. It really was beautiful." "Do you remember what you said back then?" Sophia looked at me. "What did I say?" "You said, 'Sophia, I will always protect you.'" Her voice was very gentle. "That was the most beautiful thing I have ever heard." I felt a jolt in my chest. I had indeed said those words. From that moment on, I regretted it. Sophia continued. "I regret obtaining you through deception. I want to tell you the truth, but I don't dare." "Why don't you dare?" "Because I'm afraid of losing you." She cried harder. "Ethan, do you know this feeling? Loving someone deeply, but not daring to tell them the truth, because you're afraid the truth will destroy everything." I fell silent. "I'm tormented every day." Sophia took my hand. "I want to confess to you, but I'm afraid you'll hate me. I want to leave you, but I can't bear to give up this love." "So you chose to keep deceiving me?" "I wanted to wait for the right moment." She looked at me. "I wanted to wait until our relationship was more stable, until you loved me more, and then tell you the truth." "But what you waited for was a divorce agreement." "Yes." Sophia nodded. "When I received the agreement, my world collapsed." "Why? If it's just about the money, divorce should be a good thing for you." "Because I really love you," Sophia said loudly. "Ethan, money no longer matters to me. What's important is you." Her words moved something in my heart. "Then why do you want that $500,000? I asked. "Because I wanted to prove it to Liam." Sophia smiled bitterly. "I wanted him to know that I chose money over love, so he would stop bothering me." So you broke up with Liam? We broke up a long time ago. Sophia nodded. From the moment I truly fell in love with you, I broke up with him. Then why is Liam still helping you? Because he still loves me. Sophia's voice was very soft. He wants me to be happy, even if that person isn't him. I looked at Sophia, not sure how much of her to believe. Ethan, I know it's hard for you to trust me right now. Sophia noticed my hesitation. But I can prove it to you. How will you prove it? I can give you back that $500,000, she said. I can write a letter of guarantee, promise never to lie to you again. I could do anything to prove my sincerity. I looked at her earnest expression, and my heart began to waver. Maybe what she said was true. Maybe she really had fallen in love with me through the deceit. Sophia, I need time to think. I said, I know. She nodded. I'll wait for your decision. If I choose to forgive you, can you promise you won't deceive me again? I asked. I swear. Sophia raised her hand. If I lied to you again, may I be struck by lightning. Swearing isn't enough. I shook my head. Sophia, trust takes time to rebuild. I know. Tears glinted in her eyes. Ethan, no matter how long it takes, I'm willing to wait. I stood up, preparing to leave. Ethan, Sophia called after me. If you ultimately can't forgive me, can you tell me why? I turned and looked at her. I will tell you. I said, Sophia, take good care of yourself and heal. After leaving the hospital room, my mood was very heavy. Sophia's words sounded sincere, but I couldn't fully trust them. My experiences in a previous life had left me with deep mistrust of her. But if she truly fell in love with me through deception, if she truly acknowledges her mistakes and can change, shouldn't I give her a chance? I recalled the humiliating things she said to me in the previous life, and her indifference when she brought Liam home. But now she looked so pained, so sincere. Is this genuine change or a more sophisticated performance? I don't know how to judge anymore. That night when I got home, I saw a letter on the coffee table. It was written by Sophia. I opened the letter and saw her graceful handwriting. Ethan, I know you're feeling conflicted right now, unsure whether you should trust me. I understand how you feel because I did hurt your trust. I want to tell you one thing. From the day we got married, I have had no physical contact with Liam. I kept my purity for you because I know the one I love is you. I know this cannot make up for my mistakes, but I want you to know that in my heart, you have always been my one and only man. If you're willing to give me a chance, I will spend the rest of my life proving my sincerity. If you are not, I will respect your decision. But no matter what, I want you to know that falling in love with you is the best thing I have ever done in my life. Always yours, Sophia. I finished reading the letter, feeling even more conflicted. How much of what she said was true? Should I really give her a chance? That night, I was sleepless again. A week later, Sophia was discharged. When I went to pick her up, she had already packed her things and was waiting for me. Thank you for coming to get me. When she saw me, a long-missed smile appeared on her face. Where are you planning to live? I asked. I rented a small apartment downtown, Sophia said, not far from your company. I nodded and drove her to her new place. On the way, Sophia took the initiative to speak. Ethan, I've been thinking a lot this week. What about? I think I know where our problem lies. She looked out the window. I feel we need to start over. Start over. Ich glänzte her. Yes. Sophia turned to look at me. We can get to know each other again, fall in love again, rebuild trust. Sophia, it's not as simple as you think, I said. Some wounds can't be erased. I know. She nodded. But I'm willing to try. Ethan, can you give me this chance? I was silent for a while. I can give you a chance. I finally said, but on one condition. What condition? Say it. I'll agree to anything. Sophia said eagerly. First, you have to pay me back that $500,000. I said, to prove you're not doing this for the money. All right, I'll return it right away. Sophia agreed without hesitation. Second, you must cut off all ties with Liam. I've already done that, she said. I've deleted all his contact information. Third, you must be completely honest with me, with no more secrets. I promise, Sophia said solemnly. The last condition, I said, looking at her, if I find out you deceive me again, it will be over forever. I understand. Sophia nodded. Ethan, I won't let you down. We arrived at our new place, a very simple one-bedroom apartment. The house is small, but it's enough for me, Sophia said somewhat bashfully. I looked around the room. It was indeed very humble, a far cry from the luxurious apartment we used to live in. Are you comfortable living here? I asked. I am, Sophia said with a smile. Ethan, I've found that material conditions really aren't important to me. What matters is having someone you love in your heart. Her words warmed my heart. Sophia, let's take it slow, I said. Rebuilding trust takes time. I know. She looked at me. So what are we now? Friends. I thought for a moment and said, let's start as friends. All right. Sophia smiled. Then let's reintroduce ourselves. Hello. My name is Sophia Taylor. Nice to meet you. She reached out her hand. I looked at her sincere smile, and the iceberg in my heart began to thaw. Hello. My name is Ethan. I took her hand. Nice to meet you too. From that day on, we began a new way of interacting. Sophia no longer clung to me like before, but kept an appropriate distance. She would text to ask about my work, but wouldn't pry into too many personal matters. She also did repay the $500,000 to me, not a cent less. Ethan, I've already transferred the money to you, she told me on the phone. Also, I found a job. What job? I asked. I'm a designer at an advertising agency, Sophia said. The pay isn't high, but it's enough to support myself. Why are you looking for a job? I was a bit surprised. Because I want to prove to you that I can live independently and don't need to rely on anyone. Her voice was firm. Ethan, I want to be a woman worthy of you. Her words moved me deeply. 2 months passed, and Sophia had indeed changed a lot. She became independent and strong, no longer as willful as before. She would bring me late-night snacks when I worked overtime, but she wouldn't insist I keep her company. She would comfort me when I was in a bad mood, but she wouldn't pry into the reasons. Most importantly, she became very genuine. She no longer tried to ingratiate herself with me, but showed her true self. Ethan, I learned a new dish today. Do you want to come and try it? She said on the phone. All right, I agreed. When I arrived at her apartment, I found a few simple dishes on the table, but they looked thoughtfully prepared. My cooking isn't good. You'll have to make do. Sophia said a bit nervously. I took a bite. It did taste so, but I could feel her sincerity. It's delicious, I said. Really? Sophia laughed happily. Then I'll make it for you often from now on. Seeing her so happy, I felt a warmth in my heart. This Sophia reminded me of the beautiful early days. Sophia, I'll ask you a question. I put down my fork. Have you ever regretted it? Regret what? Regretted getting me through deception. Regretted making our relationship so complicated. Sophia was silent for a moment. I regret deceiving you, but I don't regret falling in love with you. She looked at me. Ethan, if time could be turned back, I would choose to pursue you honestly, but I wouldn't choose not to love you. Her words sent a jolt through my heart. Even knowing it would end like this? Even knowing? Sophia nodded. Because falling in love with you is the happiest thing that's happened to me in this life. Even if the happiness is brief, I wouldn't want to miss it. I looked at her sincere eyes, and the last line of defense in my heart began to loosen. Maybe I should truly give her a chance. Sophia, if we get back together, can you promise there will be no more lies? I asked. I promise, she said excitedly. Ethan, I swear, from now on I will never lie to you again. All right then. I stood up and walked to her. Sophia, will you be my girlfriend? She froze, and then tears welled up instantly. Are you serious? She asked, trembling. I'm serious. I looked at her. But we have to start over. Everything from before is in the past. Okay, I am willing. Sophia cried as she threw herself into my arms. Ethan, thank you for giving me a chance. I held her, my heart a mix of emotions. Maybe this decision is right, maybe it's wrong, but I decided to believe in the power of love. Sophia, this is our new beginning, I whispered in her ear. Don't let me down. I won't, she held me tight. Ethan, I will love you for a lifetime. I will spend my life proving my sincerity. From that day on, we officially began a new romantic relationship. Sophia began to cherish our relationship more and worked hard to do what a good girlfriend should do. A year later, my company rapidly grew and prospered thanks to cooperation with the Johnson Group, becoming a well-known enterprise in the industry. Sophia was also thriving at the advertising agency, becoming an outstanding designer. We each shone brightly on our respective paths, and at the same time our journey in love grew steadier and steadier. "Ethan, let's get married." One sunny weekend, Sophia suddenly said to me, "Are you sure?" I looked at her. "No regrets." "I've never been more sure." Sophia held my hand. "Ethan, I want to spend my life with you." I looked at her sincere eyes, my heart full of warmth. "All right, let's get married." I nodded. "But this time, we must have a perfect wedding." "Really?" Sophia jumped up with joy. "Ethan, I love you." "I love you too." I held her. "Sophia, this time we're going to be happy forever." "We will," she whispered in my ear, "because we've both learned to cherish each other." Yes, after going through so many twists and turns, we both learned to cherish. We cherished each other in this hard-won love. 6 months later, we held a grand wedding. Sophia wore a white wedding dress, so beautiful it made my heart ache. "Ethan, thank you for giving me a second chance," she said to me as we exchanged rings. "I will spend my life repaying your trust." "Sophia, we both have a second chance," I said as I put the ring on her. "Let's cherish it." From then on, we lived a truly happy life. No deceit, no secrets, only sincerity between us. "George, I've got good news and bad news. Which do you want to hear first?" I put down my paintbrush and looked at my friend Frank. He stood at the studio door with a mysterious air, his face a mix of nervousness and excitement. "Let's start with the bad news. After all, I've gotten used to it these past 3 years. Your painting, Eternity, just sold for a sky-high price. Over $6 million. I frowned. "How is that bad news?" Frank chuckled. "Because it's actually part of the good news. The bad news is, buddy, you might need to see a psychiatrist." "What do you mean?" "A woman who looks exactly like Mary showed up at your art exhibition. I almost thought I was seeing a ghost." The paintbrush slipped from my hand and fell to the floor, splattering paint across the unfinished canvas. "Mary, my late wife, died 3 years ago after accidentally falling off a cliff. I watched with my own eyes as her body was pulled from the water. In that moment, my world completely collapsed." "Stop joking around, Frank. Why would I lie to you?" "She even left this." Frank handed me a note, with an address and a time written on it. My hand trembled slightly. The handwriting was exactly the same as Mary's. That night, I waited until midnight at the designated cafe. Just as I was about to leave, a familiar figure appeared at the door. "Mary?" No, it couldn't be her. But every gesture of that woman, from the tips of her hair to her fingertips, was a shadow of Mary. "George, it's been a long time." She sat across from me, and the familiar voice nearly made my heart stop. "Who are you?" I struggled to remain calm. "I'm Mary, your wife." She smiled and reached out her hand. There was a scar on her palm, the mark Mary got when she accidentally cut herself on glass at 15. "Impossible. Mary is already dead." She laughed softly. "That was just an accident. I fell off the cliff and was saved by a reclusive old doctor. I lost my memory from the injuries and only recently remembered everything." As she spoke, tears began to fall with an expression I knew all too well, the look Mary wore whenever she felt wronged. "I know it's hard to believe, but I really am Mary." I couldn't believe my eyes. The shade of lipstick Mary loved most, the faint little mole beneath her left ear, the unconscious habit of rubbing her ring while speaking. Everything was so familiar. Are you really Mary?" She nodded and took a small box out of her bag. "This is the proof." Inside the box was the first piece of jewelry Mary ever designed. A sapphire ring, the only one of its kind, never mass-produced. "I brought it with me that day because I wanted to surprise you." I suddenly stood up and pulled her into my arms. 3 years of longing surged over me like a tide. I held her tightly, afraid that if I let go, she would disappear again. On the way home, she told me about her experiences over the past 3 years. She was rescued by an old doctor in the mountains, lost her memory due to a severe head injury, and lived in a remote mountain village for more than 2 years. It wasn't until she happened to see a poster for my art exhibition that her memory gradually returned. The next day, I took her to see Frank. "Oh my God, it really is you, Mary." Frank stared in astonishment, eyes wide. "Frank, it's been a long time." She greeted him with a smile, exactly as I remembered. Frank pulled me aside and whispered, "Man, this is unbelievable, but I really believe it's her. Who else but Mary could call me by my childhood nickname so accurately? That was something only the two of you knew." A week later, Mary officially returned. We held a small welcome party for her. Her mother was so overwhelmed that she fainted, and when she woke up, she clung to her daughter and refused to let go. But that night, I noticed the first sign that something was off. Mary never ate mangoes because she was severely allergic. Yet the returned Mary absent-mindedly tasted a mango dessert and was perfectly fine. "Aren't you allergic to mangoes?" I asked. She paused for a moment, then quickly laughed and said, "Oh, that old Chinese doctor cured my allergy. He's really amazing." I nodded, but in my heart, I marked the first question mark. Is this really my wife? A month passed quickly, and Mary blended perfectly into our lives. She knew the location of every item in the house, remembered our shared memories, and could even accurately name friends we hadn't contacted in years. But those subtle feelings of discord kept growing. For example, the real Mary liked to listen to classical music, especially Debussy, while designing jewelry. But she would always unconsciously hum along to pop songs. Mary always habitually used her left hand to hold chopsticks, even though she knew it was wrong. She just couldn't change. But she was a standard right-handed user. The most obvious difference appeared that night when I accidentally caught her smoking in the bedroom. The real Mary hated the smell of smoke. Even when I came home from social events with a faint scent of cigarettes, she would frown. "When did you start smoking?" I stood at the doorway, my voice soft. She was clearly startled, hastily snuffing out the cigarette. This is a herbal cigarette for treating insomnia, prescribed by an old Chinese doctor." I nodded, not pressing further, but the doubts in my heart only grew deeper. The next day, I went to find Frank. "Help me check if, in the past 3 years, plastic surgery technology has advanced enough to achieve this level." Frank's eyes widened. "You mean, she's not Mary?" "I'm not sure, but there are always some things that don't add up." 2 days later, Frank brought news. High-end plastic surgery can make faces look similar, but it can't replicate the exact placement of scars or moles. And there's a limit to how well someone can imitate a voice. What if it was a twin? Frank shook his head. "Mary is an only child. We all know that." I decided not to show my feelings for now and to keep observing. A week later, Mary's mother came to my house with astonishing news. "George, Mary is going to have a baby," my mother-in-law told me excitedly. I stood there stunned. Before we got married, Mary had been diagnosed with uterine hypoplasia. The doctor had made it clear she could never get pregnant. This was our shared secret. Not even my mother-in-law knew. How do you know that?" I managed to ask. "Mary told me this morning. She said she already had a checkup. It's been 2 months. My mother-in-law happily grabbed my hand. "It's a blessing from above. Mary survived death, and now she can bring us new life." My heart sank to the bottom. This absolutely could not be Mary. That night, I dug out the hospital's diagnosis certificate in my study, which clearly stated the condition of Mary's uterus. But when I wanted to talk to Mary about it, I found her in the bedroom, excitedly discussing the decoration of the nursery with my mother-in-law. "Mary, could you come here for a moment?" I called her calmly. She followed me into the study, still wearing a blissful smile on her face. "Did you forget about this?" I handed her the diagnosis certificate. She took it and glanced at it, her face instantly turning pale. "George, I can explain." "Explain what?" "Explain that you're not Mary at all." Mother-in-law heard the commotion and walked in. "What's going on with you two?" "Mom, take a look at this." I handed her the proof. My mother-in-law read it, then looked at Mary in astonishment. "What's going on?" "Mary, you can't have children." "Of course she can," I sneered, "because she's not Mary at all." My mother-in-law's face changed dramatically. "What nonsense are you talking about?" "I can explain." She hurriedly grabbed my mother-in-law's hand. "That old Chinese doctor not only saved my life, but also cured my uterine problem. It's a miracle, truly." My mother-in-law looked at me, then at her, hesitating. "George, you're being too paranoid." My mother-in-law finally took her daughter's side. "Mary has come back with great difficulty. You should cherish her, not doubt her." "Yes, George, I know this is hard to accept, but miracles do happen. Tears welled up in her eyes. Haven't we always wanted a child? Now we can finally have our own baby. I looked at her face, identical to Mary's, yet I became more certain in my heart. This woman was not my wife. All right, I believe you. I smiled, deciding to go along with their story for now. Let's wait together for this miracle to happen. That night, I secretly contacted a private detective. My mother-in-law gladly accepted her daughter's explanation, even suggesting she move in with us to take care of Mary during her pregnancy. Outwardly, I agreed, but inside I grew even more wary. This was no coincidence. There had to be some kind of plot. Mom, haven't you always lived in Haicheng? Won't it be hard to get used to living here? I probed cautiously. For my grandson, I'm willing to endure any inconvenience, my mother-in-law said firmly. I noticed a fleeting unnatural expression on Mary's face. Could the truth be connected to my mother-in-law? On the third day after my mother-in-law moved in, I discovered more suspicious details. For example, the real Mary never drank coffee, but she and my mother-in-law often enjoyed it together. Also, Mary's favorite movie was Roman Holiday, but she claimed to prefer Titanic. The strangest thing is, Mary used to despise her cousin Tom when she was alive, but now he visits frequently and chats and laughs with Mary as if they're old friends. I told Frank about these discoveries. Buddy, things are getting more and more suspicious, Frank frowned. Are you sure you want to keep going like this? Why not just expose her directly? It's not the right time yet. I want to find out what they're really after. The private detective's investigation also made progress. The so-called old Chinese doctor who had saved Mary did not exist at all, and Mary's whereabouts over the past 3 years were completely untraceable. More importantly, the private detective uncovered a shocking fact during the investigation. Mary's cousin Tom was deeply in debt from gambling, and the painting Eternity under my name, worth over $6 million, was his only hope for quick cash. They're after your painting, the private detective asserted, and this fake Mary is likely a professional identity fraudster, hired to win your trust. I took a deep breath and decided to take the initiative. That afternoon, I pretended to go out, but secretly returned home and hid in the study. Sure enough, Mary and her cousin Tom were whispering to each other in the living room. It's taking too long, Tom said irritably. How much longer until he sells the painting? Don't worry, she soothed him. I'm already pregnant, and now he completely believes I'm Mary. In a little while, I'll say I want to move to a better neighborhood for the sake of the baby, and then we'll naturally need to sell the painting to raise money. You're really pregnant? That wasn't part of the plan. It was an accident, but it works to our advantage. George wants a child so badly. Does Annie know the truth? She only knows we're trying to scam money, not the specific plan. But she hates George, thinks he caused her daughter's death, so she's more than happy to help. I clenched my fists. So my mother-in-law had always believed that Mary's accident was somehow my fault. In fact, we did argue over something trivial that day, and Mary stormed out in anger. I didn't try to stop her. But I never imagined it would be the last time I'd see her. You don't actually have feelings for George, do you? Tom suddenly asked. She was silent for a moment. It's just part of the job. Besides, I owe you, and I won't go back on my word. Good then. Don't forget how we're splitting the money once we get it. Their conversation confirmed my suspicions. This was all an elaborate scheme, with my eternity as the target. In the days that followed, I pretended everything was normal while secretly making preparations. I contacted the police, arranged for evidence-gathering equipment, and found the last piece Mary had left before she died, a silver necklace that had never been made public, engraved with an anniversary date only the two of us knew. 2 weeks later, my art exhibition was held as scheduled. As planned, Mary brought up the idea of moving, hinting that I could sell Eternity. I pretended to agree and said I would auction the painting on the last day of the exhibition. This is a surprise I prepared for you, I said on the eve of the exhibition, taking out a delicate box. To celebrate the new life we're about to begin. She opened the box in surprise, and inside was the silver necklace. It's beautiful, thank you. She smiled as she prepared to put it on. Wait, I stopped her. Aren't you going to look at the engraving on the back? She turned the necklace over, and her face suddenly went pale. What's wrong? Don't you like it? I asked, feigning ignorance. No, I really like it. It's just, I'm a bit moved. She forced a smile, but didn't know how to explain that she couldn't recognize the significance of that date. See you tomorrow. Get some good rest, and don't forget to wear this necklace. I kissed her forehead and whispered in her ear, after all, this is your final design. Her body visibly stiffened for a moment, but she kept smiling. Of course, I cherish it very much. Tomorrow, the truth will come to light. On the day of the exhibition, the place was packed with people. My painting, Eternity, was displayed in the most prominent spot, right next to the last batch of jewelry designs Mary had created before her death. Mary held my arm, flawlessly playing the role of my wife as always. She had even gone out of her way to wear Mary's favorite white dress and the silver necklace I had given her last night. My mother-in-law and Tom were there too. The three of them exchanged glances from time to time, clearly waiting for the perfect moment. Frank appeared as planned, pretending to be extremely interested in Eternity and asking me about the auction details. The auction will begin promptly at 4 in the afternoon, I replied with a smile. This painting means a great deal to me, and I hope it finds someone who truly appreciates it. Mary immediately chimed in. Yes, although it's hard to part with it, this is a necessary decision for our future. I noticed she glanced at Tom, who gave a barely perceptible nod. At 3:30 in the afternoon, the projector in the center of the exhibition hall lit up. This was the special segment I had arranged. Ladies and gentlemen, I stood in front of Eternity. Before the auction begins, I'd like to share a little story about this painting. Mary's photo appeared on the projection screen, a group picture from her last birthday party before she passed away. 3 years ago, my wife Mary died in an accident. I created this painting, Eternity, in her memory. The woman in the painting has her back to the viewer, forever gazing into the distance, symbolizing a longing I can never reach. A soft sigh rippled through the crowd. Mary stood beside me, matching my words with a sorrowful expression. However, a month ago, a miracle happened. I turned to look at Mary. My wife came back. The whole room erupted in astonishment, and many people curiously sized up, Mary. This is my wife, Mary. I took her hand and stepped forward. Back from the dead, it's truly the greatest blessing heaven could have given me. She smiled and nodded to everyone, while my mother-in-law and Tom stood by with smug expressions. However, my tone suddenly shifted. Amidst my joy, a question arose. Is she really Mary? The entire room fell silent. Mary's hand trembled slightly in my palm. So, I did some investigating. The projector switched to a set of comparison photos. On the left was the real Mary. On the right was a photo of her. They look exactly the same, don't they? But I clicked the remote, and the photo was enlarged, the details highlighted. The position of the piercing on the left ear was slightly different, the arch of the eyebrows subtly varied, and the fine lines at the corners of the eyes ran in different directions. These are details that even professional plastic surgery cannot fully replicate. Mary tried to pull her hand away, but I held on tightly. My mother-in-law and Tom also began to grow anxious, glancing toward the exit. More importantly, the real Mary has a feature that cannot be copied. I turned to Mary. The necklace I gave you last night has a date engraved on the back. Can you tell everyone what that date is? She opened her mouth, but no words came out. That was the due date of our first child, the one we lost. I spoke softly, my voice trembling with emotion. Mary designed this necklace to commemorate the baby we never got to meet. The date was our secret, only Mary and I knew. The room fell utterly silent. Mary turned deathly pale, my mother-in-law's eyes widened, and Tom had already started edging toward the door. What surprised me even more, I continued, was that the real Mary could never get pregnant due to an underdeveloped uterus. Yet this, Mary claims she's already 2 months along. I let go of her hand and took a step back. So, who are you really? A flicker of despair flashed in Mary's eyes, but she quickly regained her composure. I am Mary, it's just that old Chinese doctor. The non-existent old Chinese doctor, right? I sneered. Just like the non-existent amnesia, the non-existent miraculous recovery. I turned toward the projection screen. Let's see the truth. The screen played the secretly recorded video of her conversation with Tom, their discussion on how to swindle Eternity, clearly audible. This isn't. She tried to explain, but my mother-in-law had already rushed forward. Who are you really? My mother-in-law screamed. You're not my daughter? Auntie, stop pretending, I said calmly. You know she's not Mary. You just wanted to get back at me, didn't you? My mother-in-law's face turned pale. I didn't know she was going to impersonate Mary. Tom just said he needed help to scam some money. Police. Don't move. Several plainclothes officers emerged from the crowd, blocking Tom as he tried to escape. Amid the chaos, Mary took the opportunity to shove me aside and run toward the exit. I chased after her and caught up in the parking lot. Tell me, who are you really? She finally stopped, turned to face me, tears welling in her eyes. My name is Luna. I'm an actress. Tom found me and said if I helped trick you out of a painting, he'd give me $1 million. I needed the money for my sister's medical treatment. Why did they choose me? Why Mary? She shook her head. I don't know. They gave me a lot of information, photos, videos, even your chat logs. I was just following the script. The police arrived and took her away. I stood where I was, gazing at the distant sky, my heart a tumult of emotions. Back in the exhibition hall, the crowd had already dispersed, leaving only Frank and a few police officers. It's all been cleared up, Frank walked over. Tom owed money to loan sharks and was desperate. Your mother-in-law always resented you for not saving Mary, so she helped them plan the whole thing. I walked up to Eternity, gently caressing the back of the woman in the painting. Mary, I can finally give you an answer. The police left with the evidence. Frank patted me on the shoulder. What do you plan to do next? I took a deep breath. Prepare for the final painting. What will it be called? The Pursuit, I said softly. This time, I'll paint her face, not just her back. After the case was solved, my life seemed to return to where it was 3 years ago. Eternity was temporarily held by the court as crucial evidence. Tom and Luna were arrested for fraud, and my mother-in-law was investigated as an accomplice. The prosecution wants you to testify in court, the officer called to inform me. The trial is scheduled for early next month. I agreed, though I was utterly exhausted inside. After exposing the deception, I thought I would feel the thrill of revenge, but what I felt instead was a profound emptiness. Those days spent with Mary that month had allowed me to feel a trace of warmth in life again, even if that warmth was born of lies. Frank often came to see me, worried I might fall into despair once more. I told him not to worry, that I was working on a new piece, The Pursuit. Are you really going to paint Mary's face from the front? Frank asked curiously. For the past 3 years, you've always refused to do that. It's time, I replied. We can't live in the past forever. I moved out of the apartment I had shared with Mary and returned to the old house in the suburbs, the place where the real Mary and I had first made our home. The dust-laden memories in the house brought me both pain and comfort. Mary's studio remained just as she had left it, design sketches scattered across the table, unfinished jewelry drafts pinned to the drawing board. One afternoon, while sorting through Mary's belongings, I discovered an encrypted external hard drive. After several attempts, I finally unlocked it using our wedding anniversary as the password. Inside were backups of Mary's design works, along with some personal photos and videos. One folder in particular caught my attention. Inside a folder named Plan was a series of jewelry design sketches, labeled George's Birthday Special Project. It was then I remembered that, in the months before Mary passed away, she often spoke mysteriously about giving me an unparalleled birthday surprise. Leafing through these design drafts, I couldn't help but be moved to tears. Mary had planned to design a jewelry collection inspired by my paintings over the years, with each piece corresponding to a representative work from my artistic career. The last page was a sketch of a ring, with a dark red stone set in the center, its edges adorned with tiny diamonds, closely resembling the sunrise in my early work, Dawn. This is blood amber? I examined the notes carefully, confirming the name of this rare gemstone. Mary's designs had always been bold, but blood amber is extremely rare in the Chinese market, almost impossible to acquire. How did she obtain such a material? As I continued searching, I found a series of email correspondence screenshots. Mary had actually contacted a gemstone dealer in Myanmar, commissioning the blood amber specifically for this ring. The last email showed that the gem had already been shipped, but the date was exactly 1 week before Mary's death. I immediately called Frank. Help me check if there was a package sent from Myanmar 3 years ago, addressed to Mary. 2 days later, Frank brought news. The package did exist, but since no one signed for it, it was returned. However, according to the shipping records, it was resent a month ago, this time addressed to you. What? I was completely confused. I haven't received any package. Check your old apartment? Frank suggested. Back at my old apartment, the manager told me there was indeed a package, but it had been signed for by Mary. She said it was a surprise for you, so she didn't notify you, the manager explained. This meant Luna had taken the blood amber. I rushed to the detention center and requested to see Luna. Separated by glass, she looked much more haggard than the last time we met, but still wore that face so similar to Mary's. "What are you doing here?" she asked coldly. "A month ago, you signed for a package from Myanmar. There was a blood amber inside. I want to know where it is." She looked surprised. "How did you know?" "Tom asked me to sign for it. He said it was some precious gem. He took it." My heart sank. Tom was deep in gambling debt. A precious blood amber would be a windfall for him. He had probably sold it long ago. "That blood amber is very important to me," I said softly. "It was the last gift my wife left me." Luna was silent for a moment, then suddenly said, "Maybe it's not that bad. Tom said the stone has flaws, its value is greatly reduced, and he hasn't found a suitable buyer yet." Hope was rekindled. If Tom hadn't sold the blood amber yet, maybe there was still a chance to get it back. "Do you know where he might hide it?" Luna hesitated for a moment. "He has a safe deposit box in a self-storage facility on the east side of the city." After getting the address, I immediately contacted the officer in charge of the case and explained the situation. Since Tom was involved in a large sum of money, the police quickly approved the search request. "Mr. George, we found the safe deposit box," the officer said over the phone. "Inside, we did find the blood amber you described, as well as some other evidence." A few hours later, I retrieved the blood amber at the police station. It was even more beautiful than I had imagined. Within the dark red core, wisps of mist seemed to swirl, shifting strangely under the light. This was the birthday gift Mary had so carefully chosen for me, waiting for 3 years. Back home, I carefully placed the blood amber beside the canvas of the pursuit. The painting was already more than half finished, Mary's face emerging from the blur into clarity, yet it still felt like something was missing. Watching the blood amber glimmer faintly under the light, I suddenly understood how I should complete the painting. The creation of the pursuit entered its final stage. I decided to break convention and incorporate the blood amber into the artwork. This would not only be a portrait, but a hybrid piece that fused painting with the art of jewelry. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Frank frowned. "That blood amber is priceless." "That's exactly why," I said firmly. "Mary chose it for me. She wanted to inspire an unparalleled masterpiece. I will fulfill her wish." For 2 whole weeks, I worked day and night, neglecting sleep and food. I cut the blood amber into thin slices and inlaid them at the spot of Mary's eyes on the canvas, making her gaze truly come alive. I used a special technique to blend the surrounding paint, creating a harmonious transition with the gemstone. From certain angles, the entire painting seemed to be imbued with life, and Mary's expression would shift depending on where the viewer stood. On the day I finished the piece, Frank brought news. Luna had been sentenced to 3 years in prison, but due to her good attitude in confessing, she might serve only a year and a half. Tom, involved in multiple fraud cases, was sentenced to 7 years. My mother-in-law, as an accomplice, received a suspended sentence. "The case is finally over," Frank said. "Are you planning to exhibit your painting?" "Yes. Next month there will be a solo exhibition at the National Art Museum, and The Pursuit will be the grand finale." The curator couldn't stop praising this piece, believing it represents the innovative direction of contemporary art and marks the pinnacle of my career. Indeed, this painting, which incorporates Mary's jewelry design concepts, is in some sense a creation we made together. On the eve of the exhibition, I checked the arrangement in the gallery alone one last time, making sure every piece was perfectly lit and positioned. When I reached The Pursuit, I couldn't help but stop and gaze at it. Mary's face was vividly lifelike, her eyes inlaid with blood amber gleaming under the spotlight, as if she were smiling at me. For the first time in 3 years, I faced her directly, no longer painting only her back. "Mr. George," a stranger's voice called from behind. "Sorry to disturb you, but the gallery has been cleared." He turned around to see a young woman dressed in the museum's staff uniform. "And you are?" "I'm the new curator, responsible for security in your exhibition area," she explained with a smile. "I really like your work, especially this piece, The Pursuit." "Thank you." I nodded. "I'll be leaving soon." She didn't leave, but continued to gaze at the painting. "That red gem is beautiful, almost as if it's alive." "It's blood amber," I explained, "a very rare gemstone." I know, she said softly. Top-grade blood amber from Myanmar, containing plant fossils, extremely rare. I looked at her in surprise. You know a lot about jewelry? She smiled. I study jewelry design. I'm just working part-time here. For some reason, Mary suddenly came to mind. She, too, had an almost obsessive passion for and expertise in gemstones. If you don't mind me asking, who is the woman in this painting? She asked. My wife, I replied. She passed away 3 years ago. She was a jewelry designer. I'm very sorry, she said sincerely, then gestured toward the blood amber. This gem must mean a great deal to you. It was the last birthday gift she chose for me before she died, but I only found it recently. She nodded thoughtfully. Setting it into her portrait is the best way to remember her. For some reason, talking with this unfamiliar woman brought me a strange sense of calm. Perhaps it was her love for jewelry that reminded me of Mary. Sorry, I have to continue my rounds. She glanced at her watch. See you tomorrow, Mr. George. See you tomorrow, I replied, watching her leave. On the way home, I felt an unusual peace. The completion of The Pursuit seemed to mark the end of my search for Mary as well. Not forgetting, but remembering her forever in another way. The next day, the exhibition's opening ceremony attracted numerous figures from the art world and the media. The Pursuit undoubtedly became the center of attention, with people marveling at this innovative form of artistic expression. Amid the crowd, I noticed that curator standing aside, watching as well. Sunlight streamed through the skylight of the gallery, falling upon her, and for a fleeting moment, I thought I saw Mary's shadow. No, I shook my head, warning myself not to be deceived by mere resemblance. There would never be another Mary in this world, just as there would never be another unique blood amber. After the exhibition, The Pursuit was purchased by an anonymous collector for an astronomical price. I donated all the proceeds to a foundation supporting students in jewelry design, establishing a scholarship in Mary's name. Life slowly moved forward, and I began to accept new commissions and create new works. Occasionally, I would think of that curator with a unique insight into jewelry, wondering if she was still working at the art museum. Until one day, I received an email from HL. There were no words, only an image. A sketch of a ring design, the style strikingly similar to Mary's unfinished series. My heart raced as I replied immediately. Who is this? The response came quickly. Yesterday, you brushed past me by the cafe on the street corner, but you didn't recognize me. If you want to know more, wait for me at the museum entrance at noon tomorrow. Is it that librarian? How could she have a design so reminiscent of Mary's style? Filled with anxiety and anticipation, I decided to accept the invitation and find out for myself. The next day at noon, I arrived at the art museum half an hour early. The sun was shining, and small groups of visitors were coming and going from the exhibition hall, but there was no sign of the mysterious person. Just as I began to suspect this might be some kind of prank, a faint trace of perfume drifted by, a scent unfamiliar to me, yet it inexplicably reminded me of Mary. Mr. George, thank you for coming. The voice behind me made me turn around. It was the curator. Today, she wasn't wearing her uniform, but a simple white dress, completely different from Mary's style when she was alive. Did you send the email? I asked directly. She nodded. There are some things I want to tell you, but not here. Will you come with me? We walked through the small park beside the art museum and arrived at a secluded cafe. The whole time, I kept observing her. Her mannerisms, the way she walked, none of it resembled Mary. Yet her sensitivity to detail and her focused attention gave me a strange sense of familiarity. Who are you, really? The moment we sat down, I couldn't wait to ask. My name is Nicole. She looked me straight in the eye. I'm Mary's student. This answer caught me off guard. Mary had indeed taught jewelry design part-time at the Design Academy before she passed away, but she had never mentioned having any particularly close students. I took her advanced design class the year before she passed, Nicole explained. Her guidance benefited me for a lifetime. That still doesn't explain why your designs resemble her style so much, I said, half convinced. Nicole took a folder out of her bag. These are all notes from Ms. Nicole's class and her feedback on my work. You can look at the handwriting and confirm that it's really hers. I carefully examined the materials. It was indeed Mary's handwriting. There were even traces of the pale purple ink she habitually used. Before Ms. Nicole passed away, she was guiding me on my graduation project, Nicole continued. The theme was interwoven light and shadow, blending Eastern and Western aesthetic elements. She gave me a lot of valuable advice, and even showed me a sketch from a private project she was working on at the time. George's special birthday project? I blurted out. Nicole's eyes widened in surprise. You know about it? I only found out recently. I briefly explained the origin of the blood amber. I knew that blood amber would eventually find its way back to you, Nicole said with a smile. Nicole always said it was a destined gift. Is that why you contacted me? Because you saw the blood amber? Nicole was silent for a moment, as if choosing her words carefully. Not entirely. After Nicole passed away, I've been trying to carry on the design philosophy she taught me. Some time ago, I happened to see the news about your eternity being stolen, and then I saw someone impersonating Nicole. I thought I should tell you a few things. She took a letter out of her bag. This is the last letter Nicole gave me after class before she passed away. She said if her surprise plan went smoothly, I should show you this letter. If anything went wrong and she was gone, I should still make sure you see it. I took the envelope. It was indeed Mary's handwriting, and it read, "To my dearest husband." The envelope had already been opened. I didn't know what was in the letter at the time. I just kept it as Nicole instructed, Nicole explained. It wasn't until I saw the news that I opened it. I hope you won't blame me. I carefully took out the letter paper and unfolded it to read. Dear George, if you are reading this letter, perhaps my surprise plan has gone awry. Don't worry, it's just that the plan has changed, and the form of the gift may be different now. The blood amber I picked for you is said to be known as the Eye of Rebirth. Legend has it that looking at the world through it reveals truths that are often overlooked. I hope it can become a turning point in your artistic career, leading you to see new possibilities. All these years, your paintings have always depicted backs, as if you're afraid to face something head-on. I hope this gemstone will give you the courage to paint the front, to capture true emotions. No matter what happens, please remember, love does not disappear, it merely changes form, like this blood amber, which, after millions of years, transforms from resin into a gem, yet still shines. Forever loving you, Mary. The handwriting became a bit messy at the end, as if written in a hurry. I stroked the paper, as if I could feel Mary's emotions at that moment. Thank you, I said, my voice choked with emotion. This means a lot to me. You're welcome. I'm just fulfilling Ms. Nicole's request, Nicole said with a smile. Actually, there's one more thing I'd like to ask your help with. What is it? I'd like to apply for the Mary Scholarship you established, she said, taking a design portfolio out of her bag. This is my graduation project, combining Ms. Nicole's ideas with my own innovations. As I flipped through the portfolio, I was surprised to find that while these designs bore traces of Mary's influence, they also possessed a unique style and innovative touches. In particular, a series called Metamorphosis cleverly combined jewelry with transformable elements, allowing the pieces to change form according to the wearer's mood and occasion. This is outstanding, I praised sincerely. Mary would be proud of you. A hint of joy flashed in Nicole's eyes. Really? I've always worried I couldn't live up to her expectations. You've already moved beyond the learning stage and developed your own style. That's exactly what she hoped to see. As we talked, sunlight streamed through the window and fell on Nicole. In that moment, I seemed to understand something. When Mary spoke of love changing its form, perhaps she wasn't just referring to the blood amber, but also to her passion for art and its legacy. Luna tried to impersonate Mary by mimicking her appearance, but she could never truly replicate who she was. Nicole, on the other hand, looked nothing like Mary, yet she inherited a part of her artistic vision and spirit. Perhaps this is the true gift Mary left me, not the blood amber, but a new possibility, a path out of the past. Nicole's graduation exhibition was held in a small gallery. Though the space was modest, it was exquisitely arranged. Her works were divided into 3 series, representing the past, the present, and the future, forming a complete narrative. This is a brilliant idea, I sincerely praised. From tradition to contemporary and then to the future, it showcases the evolution and possibilities of jewelry design. Nicole smiled and nodded. This was inspired by teacher Nicole. She always says that good design should look back at history, be grounded in the present, and look forward to the future. As I walked through the exhibition hall, I noticed a special display case in the corner, containing only one piece, a seemingly simple ring with a small red gemstone set in the center. This is. I leaned in to read the label, which said, in memory, dedicated to teacher Mary. Yes, I made it from a small piece of blood amber I bought with my own savings, Nicole explained. It can't compare to the quality of yours, but it's also from Myanmar. I examined the design of the ring closely. Clean, powerful lines with fine silver threads encircling the blood amber, as if protecting the central gem, yet also seeming to radiate light outward. This is very similar to Mary's final design style, I said softly, but it also has your own unique touch. I wanted to create a piece that could both commemorate teacher Nicole and showcase my own style, Nicole explained. The blood amber represents her influence, while the outer design is the direction of my own development. The exhibition attracted quite a few industry insiders, including some well-known figures from the jewelry design world. After viewing the exhibition, an older female designer approached Nicole and offered her an internship opportunity. I stood by, genuinely happy for Nicole. In the evening, as the exhibition was drawing to a close, Frank arrived as well. Seeing me with Nicole, he gave me a knowing smile. New friend? He asked me quietly. Mary's student, I explained simply. Very talented. Frank nodded without asking further questions. After touring the exhibition, he gave high praise to Nicole's work. It blends traditional and modern elements, demonstrating both technical skill and artistic expression, quite rare. Nicole thanked him politely. This wouldn't have been possible without the guidance of teacher Nicole and teacher George. After the exhibition, the three of us went to a nearby restaurant for dinner. During the meal, Frank talked about recent trends in the art market, while Nicole shared her insights on contemporary jewelry design. The conversation was light and pleasant, and I realized it had been a long time since I had relaxed and chatted with others like this. After a few rounds of drinks, Frank received an urgent call and left early. Only Nicole and I remained in the restaurant, and the atmosphere suddenly became a bit quiet. Mr. George, Nicole hesitated for a moment before speaking. I've always had a question I wanted to ask you. What is it? After you finished the pursuit, what are you planning to create next? The question caught me off guard. To be honest, ever since the pursuit, I haven't had any new inspiration. That painting seemed to have drained all my emotions and creativity. I haven't decided yet, I answered honestly. It might take some time to find a new direction. Nicole nodded thoughtfully. Nicole once said that the hardest thing for an artist isn't creating a stunning masterpiece, but finding a way forward after reaching the peak. She really did say that, I recalled with a smile. Mary always saw further than I did. Maybe, Nicole said softly, you could try a new direction that combines your work with jewelry design? Like in The Pursuit, but taking it even further. I recalled what Mary mentioned in her letter about seeing new possibilities, and suddenly I was inspired. You mean, creating a series of works that combine painting and jewelry? Exactly. Nicole said excitedly, your paintings create emotion in two-dimensional space, while jewelry gives it tangible form in the three-dimensional world. The combination of the two would have an astonishing effect. The more we talked, the more engaged we became, even sketching a few concept designs on the restaurant's napkins. Nicole's ideas were fresh and bold, perfectly aligning with my artistic vision, yet bringing a new perspective. As we left the restaurant, Nicole suddenly said, I have to confess something. I looked at her in confusion. I reached out to you not only to deliver Nicole's letter, but also for a personal reason. I hope to learn from you, she said candidly. I want to become a designer like Nicole, someone who not only creates beautiful works but also perfectly blends art with emotion. Her sincerity moved me. You're already on that path, and you're doing very well. Then, may I consult you often? She asked a little nervously. Of course, I'd be delighted. On the way home, a series of new works already began to take shape in my mind. A cross-disciplinary art that fuses painting and jewelry, both as a tribute to Mary and as a new starting point in my artistic career. That night, I had a dream. In the dream, Mary stood in a halo of blood-red light, smiling at me and saying, See, I knew you would find a new direction. When I woke up, I got out of bed immediately and began sketching for the new series. I decided to name it Rebirth. Not only representing the ancient life forever preserved in blood amber, but also symbolizing the rebirth of my artistic career, as well as the inheritance and development of Mary's artistic vision. A week later, I submitted a new series proposal to the gallery and received an enthusiastic response. The curator even suggested holding a special exhibition themed Between Dimensions, a dialogue between painting and jewelry. For this project, I invited Nicole to join the team as a jewelry design consultant. She had just graduated from design school and was both excited and nervous about the opportunity. "Am I really up to the task?" she asked me in the studio. "You understand Mary's design philosophy better than anyone," I assured her. "That's exactly what I need." In the days that followed, we worked at a feverish pace. We created during the day and discussed at night, sometimes even working through until dawn. Nicole's ideas flowed endlessly, and I transformed those thoughts into concrete artistic expressions. In the process, I rediscovered the pure joy of creation that I hadn't felt in a long time. One late night, when we finally finished the design for our first piece, Nicole clapped her hands excitedly. "This is amazing. Teacher Nicole will definitely love it." At the mention of Mary, she suddenly realized her slip and looked at me nervously. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." "It's all right," I said with a smile. "I think Mary really would like it. She always hoped I could step out of my comfort zone and try new ways of expressing myself." Nicole let out a sigh of relief, then hesitantly asked, "Professor George, may I ask you a personal question?" "What is it?" "When you faced the woman impersonating Professor Nicole, how did you see through her? I mean, from the news reports, she seemed like an exact copy of Professor Nicole." I pondered for a moment. Superficial resemblance is easy to achieve, but a true personality cannot be duplicated. Mary's perception of art, her attitude toward life, the way she handled details, these were all unique. Just like a work of art, Nicole mused, no matter how perfect a replica is, it can never capture the soul of the original. Exactly. We worked through the night again, and finally established the overall framework for the Rebirth series. 7 pieces, each blending elements of painting and jewelry, together telling a story of loss and recovery, death and rebirth. As our collaboration deepened, my relationship with Nicole gradually shifted from teacher and student to partners, both mentor and friend. Sometimes, when the light traced the gentle contours of her focused profile, I would unconsciously think of Mary. But soon, I realized that this association wasn't due to any physical resemblance, but rather that same dedication and passion for art. "George, you look much more spirited lately," Frank remarked at a gathering. "It's been a while since I've seen you so full of life." "Yeah, the new project has helped me rediscover the joy of creating." "Nicole's a good girl," Frank said meaningfully. "Talented, and she really understands you." I understood his implication, but just smiled without responding. There was indeed a special understanding between Nicole and me, but it was more rooted in our shared passion for art than anything else. At least for now. The creation of the Rebirth series took 3 months, longer than expected, but the results were stunning. Each piece was a perfect fusion of painting and jewelry art, offering both the pleasure of viewing as a flat image and the discovery of 3-dimensional effects brought by the jewelry elements from different angles. A week before the exhibition opened, I received an unexpected visitor, Luna. She had served her sentence and was released early. She looked much more haggard than the last time we met, but her eyes were clearer. "I came to apologize to you in person." She stood at the studio door, her voice low, "for everything I have done." I didn't respond immediately, but simply invited her in to sit down. "I know that an apology can't make up for the loss," she continued, "but I want you to know that I truly regret it." "How is your sister's illness?" I asked. She looked up in surprise. You know. I guessed. "You said you needed money for a reason, and I think that must have been true." "Yes," she nodded. "My sister's surgery was a success, and now she's fully recovered. For the past 3 years, I've been thinking about how to make up for my mistakes, even though I may never be able to." I was silent for a moment, then said, "You know, in a way, your appearance actually helped me." "What do you mean?" "It forced me to confront the past, to re-examine my memories with Mary, and ultimately to find a way forward." I pointed to the sketches of the Rebirth series on the wall and briefly explained this new project. Luna listened quietly, a look of genuine respect in her eyes. "I'm glad you were able to find a new beginning from that nightmare," she said at last. "I hope I can find my own path to rebirth as well." As she left, she handed me a small package. "These are some simple pieces of jewelry I made in prison. The craftsmanship is rough, but each one represents my remorse and blessings. I hope you can accept them." Opening the package, I found several small trinkets handmade from fine wire and colorful glass beads. Though simple, it was clear the creator had poured their heart into them. Nicole happened to come into the studio at that moment. Seeing the trinkets, she asked curiously, "What are these?" I told her about Luna's visit. "You forgave her?" Nicole was a bit surprised. "Not exactly forgiveness," I said thoughtfully. "It's more like understanding. Everyone has their own hardships and choices. What's important is how we learn and grow from our mistakes." Nicole nodded pensively, picking up a piece of jewelry to examine it closely. "The craftsmanship is rough, but the concept is ingenious. This person seems to have a talent for design." "Perhaps," I said. "Everyone has the possibility of being reborn." On the day of the exhibition opening, numerous figures from the art and jewelry worlds gathered together. The Rebirth series received unprecedented acclaim. Critics called it a model of cross-disciplinary art, and the gallery owner was overjoyed, announcing plans for a nationwide tour. In the crowd, I saw Luna. She was dressed simply, standing quietly in a corner, admiring the exhibits. Our eyes met in the air. She nodded slightly, then walked away. "Who was that?" Nicole asked, standing beside me. "Someone searching for Rebirth," I replied. Nicole seemed to understand and asked no more. We stood side by side before the pursuit, watching the blood amber refract a strange light under the lamps, like the silent burning of life's flame. "Thank you," I whispered to Nicole. "Without you, this series might never have come into being." "It was your philosophy that guided us, Teacher Nicole," she replied modestly. I was just fortunate enough to be the messenger. In that moment, I suddenly understood the true meaning of what Mary had written in her letter. Love has changed its form. Love exists not only in memory and longing, but also in inheritance and innovation, shining brightly in every spark of artistic creation. And I, at last, had learned how to begin anew after loss, to embrace rebirth while still searching. The success of the exhibition exceeded everyone's expectations. In just 1 month, the Rebirth series was reported on by major media outlets and even attracted the attention of the international art world. A renowned auction house extended an olive branch to me, hoping to include several pieces in their annual highlight auction. "This is an unprecedented opportunity," Frank said excitedly. "If the deal goes through, you'll become a top player in the contemporary art market." I wasn't particularly concerned with commercial success, but I did feel the joy of having my work widely recognized. More importantly, this series opened up a new artistic path for me, freeing me from the creative shackles of the past 3 years. Nicole benefited as well. As the project's jewelry design consultant, she received high praise from the industry. Several well-known jewelry brands reached out to her, hoping she would join their design teams. "Which offer are you planning to accept?" One night, as we were tidying up the studio together, I asked her. "To be honest, I'm still hesitating." Nicole paused her work. "These are all great opportunities, but..." "But what?" "But I want to keep working with you." She looked straight into my eyes. "Rebirth is just the beginning, isn't it?" Her candor surprised me a little. Indeed, the success of this series had opened up many new creative possibilities for us, but I wasn't sure if I should continue such a close working relationship. "You should consider your own career development," I said tactfully. "These opportunities are very rare for young designers." Nicole seemed to sense my hesitation and nodded gently. "I understand." In the days that followed, we were both busy and rarely had the chance to talk alone. A week later, Nicole told me she had decided to accept an invitation from a French jewelry brand and would be going to Paris to work for 2 years. "Congratulations," I said sincerely. "It's a very good choice." "Thank you," she replied with a smile, though a fleeting, elusive emotion flashed in her eyes. "I think this is the best arrangement for both of us." Before Nicole left, we held a small farewell party. Frank, the curator, and a few mutual friends came. The atmosphere was warm, tinged with a hint of sadness. After a few rounds of drinks, Frank found an opportunity to pull me aside. "Are you really going to just let her go like this?" "What do you mean?" I pretended not to understand. "Don't play dumb, man," Frank said bluntly. "You have feelings for her. That's obvious." "That's just professional rapport," I argued. "Is that so?" Frank looked at me meaningfully. "Then why have you been so distracted ever since she decided to go to France?" I was at a loss for words. In fact, these past few days I had indeed felt an inexplicable sense of loss, but I kept telling myself it was only because I had lost an excellent partner. "I know what you're worried about." Frank lowered his voice. You feel like you're letting Mary down, don't you? I remained silent. He had touched upon the deepest concern in my heart. Mary has been gone for 3 years now. Frank gently patted my shoulder. She would want you to be happy. After the party ended, I walked Nicole home. The night was tranquil as water, and the city lights flowed around us. Thank you for your help and guidance these past few months. Nicole stopped at the entrance of her apartment building. This experience has meant so much to me. I should be thanking you, I said sincerely. Without you, the Rebirth series would never have been completed. We fell into silence, as if both searching for the right words to say goodbye. My flight is the morning after tomorrow, Nicole finally said. I still have some things to take care of tomorrow, so this is probably the last time we'll see each other. 2 years will pass quickly. I tried to make my voice sound light. Paris is a beautiful city. You'll like it there. She nodded, a complex emotion flickering in her eyes. Professor George, there's something I've always wanted to tell you, but never found the right opportunity. What is it? I chose to study jewelry design because I saw Nicole's works. She took a deep breath, or more precisely, because I saw the pieces Nicole designed for you. The way she perfectly fused love and art moved me deeply. I didn't know that, I said in surprise. I've always hoped that one day I could be like Nicole, creating art filled with emotion. Nicole continued, her words coming faster, as if afraid she might lose her courage. But now I realize that what I want even more is to create for a specific person, just like Nicole created for you. I understood her implication, and my heart suddenly began to race. Nicole, please don't respond, she gently interrupted me. I just wanted you to know before I leave. No matter how you feel right now, remember that starting over is not a betrayal of the past, but a way of cherishing life. With that, she rose up on her tiptoes and softly kissed my cheek, then quickly turned and walked into the apartment building, leaving me standing alone in the night, my mind in turmoil. After returning home, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep, replaying Nicole's words and that gentle kiss over and over in my mind. Suddenly, I remembered a small box in the study, where Mary's last complete letter was kept, a letter I had found while sorting through her belongings. But at the time, overwhelmed by grief, I never had the courage to open. Now, I finally mustered the courage to walk into the study and retrieve that delicate little box from the depths of the drawer. Inside lay a pale pink letter, bearing Mary's familiar handwriting. Dearest George, by the time you read this letter, you may find yourself at a crossroads in life, hesitating between moving forward or staying where you are. My greatest wish is that you can move bravely through life, as freely as your brush glides across the canvas. Love is not a shackle, but a liberation. Memory is not a burden, but a source of strength. If one day you meet someone who can rekindle the light in your eyes, please don't hesitate because of your longing for me. True love is wishing happiness for the other, even if there is no longer a place for oneself in that happiness. Remember, the days we loved each other were complete, with no need for regrets. And now, it's time to paint a new picture, my beloved. Forever loving you. Mary. Tears blurred my vision. It was as if Mary had foreseen my current situation and had already given me her blessing. She was always like this, always able to see further and more clearly than I could. At that moment, I made up my mind. Early the next morning, I drove straight to Nicole's apartment. Professor George? Nicole opened the door in surprise, clearly not expecting me. I have something to say to you. I looked her straight in the eyes, not as your teacher, but as George. I handed her Mary's letter. Nicole read it carefully, her expression shifting from surprise to being moved, and finally, her eyes grew moist. She truly was an extraordinary woman, Nicole said softly, handing the letter back to me. Yes, she was, I nodded. That's exactly why I believe her words. Nicole, cancel your plans for Paris. Stay and continue our collaboration, will you? Nicole looked at me in shock. Are you serious? I've never been more serious, I said quietly. Rebirth is not just the name of an artwork, it's a possibility in life. Are you willing to explore that possibility with me? Her answer was a firm embrace, warm and real, like the first ray of sunlight after a long winter. In that moment, I felt as if Mary was somewhere, smiling down on us, blessing this new beginning. Life is like that blood amber, enduring countless ages of change and sedimentation, ultimately transforming into an eternal radiance. And I, at last, understood what true pursuit is, what true rebirth means. A year later, Nicole and I unveiled our second joint project, Interwoven, at the National Art Museum. This series was even bolder and more innovative than Rebirth, blending Eastern and Western aesthetics with various art forms. Critics hailed it as a significant breakthrough in contemporary art. At the opening ceremony, Nicole held my arm as we faced the media interviews and congratulations from the audience together. She wore a simple white dress, and around her neck was the Eye of Rebirth necklace we designed together. She completed the jewelry part based on my painting. "Your collaboration seems even more in sync than your last project," a reporter asked with a suggestive smile. Nicole glanced at me, and we exchanged a smile. Yes, both in art and in life, we found the perfect balance. This indirect answer drew a round of good-natured laughter from the reporters present. My relationship with Nicole was no longer a secret, but we always kept a low profile, letting the public's attention remain focused on our artistic creations. After the exhibition, we drove out to a small hill in the countryside. There stood an ancient oak tree, beneath which Mary's ashes were laid to rest. This was the place we chose, rather than a traditional cemetery, natural, peaceful, just like Mary herself. "Mary, the exhibition was a great success today," I said softly to the stone beneath the tree. "Nicole's designs were admired by everyone, just as you once predicted." Nicole crouched down and placed a bouquet of white daisies in front of the stone. "Teacher Nicole, I've been working hard to become the kind of designer you hoped I would be. I hope you can be proud of me." A gentle breeze stirred, and the oak's leaves rustled softly, as if it were Mary's reply. On the way back, Nicole suddenly said, "I've been thinking about something." "What is it?" "If that woman who pretended to be Ms. Nicole hadn't appeared, you might never have found the blood amber, never created the pursuit, and we might never have met." Her words made me fall into deep thought. Indeed, it was the series of events triggered by that deception that ultimately led to everything now. It feels as if, in the unseen, some force has been orchestrating it all. "Perhaps that's the irony of fate," I said softly. "Sometimes, the worst beginnings can lead us to the best endings." When I returned home, I received an unexpected package. Upon opening it, I found a delicate little box containing a handmade ring. Though simple, the craftsmanship had improved greatly compared to the pieces I had seen before. There was a note attached. "Mr. George, thank you for your kindness and understanding a year ago, which gave me the courage to start over. Now I have found a job at a small jewelry shop, and my life is gradually getting back on track. This ring represents my gratitude, and I wish you happiness and well-being on your new path." "Luna," I handed the ring to Nicole. After examining it carefully, she remarked, "Her skills have improved a lot. She truly has talent." "Some mistakes in life shouldn't become permanent scars," I sighed. "Everyone deserves a second chance." That night, we sat in the studio, discussing ideas for the next series. Nicole suddenly proposed a bold idea. I was thinking, maybe we could try connecting the different stages of our work to create a complete narrative. From eternity to quest, then to rebirth, and intertwined, they're actually different phases in a person's life journey. "You mean?" "A complete story about loss, searching, rebirth, and integration," she explained excitedly, ultimately asking what is the most precious treasure in life. "Love." I finished her sentence. "No matter what form it takes." Nicole nodded, her eyes sparkling with creative fire. "We could call it the forms of love, an unprecedented artistic exploration." "Sounds like a long-term, ambitious project." "We have time," she smiled, holding my hand. "We have so much time." In that moment, I felt a powerful surge of creative inspiration, just like when I first began my artistic career years ago, filled with passion and possibility. But this time, I was not facing the blank canvas alone. 2 years later, the Forms of Love series was exhibited simultaneously in the world's 5 greatest art museums, causing an unprecedented sensation. Critics called it a milestone in contemporary art history, blending painting, sculpture, jewelry design, and other art forms to create an entirely new artistic language. The final piece of the exhibition was titled Eternal Ring, a massive circular canvas depicting every form of love in life, familial, platonic, romantic, and the love for art itself. The edge of the canvas was inlaid with gemstones of various sizes, and under certain lighting, these gems would cast light onto specific parts of the canvas, revealing another hidden layer of patterns. The centerpiece of this work is a massive blood amber. Through intricate optical design, The light it projects perfectly outlines two embracing figures. One is Mary, the other is Nicole, symbolizing the intersection of past and present, the fusion of memory and rebirth. On the closing day of the exhibition, in front of the eternal ring, I knelt on one knee and proposed to Nicole. The ring was crafted from the very blood amber Mary had once prepared for me, designed by my own hand and fashioned by the finest jeweler. This ring carries the memories of the past and the hopes for the future, I whispered softly. Nicole, will you be the eternal ring in my life? Her tears sparkled under the spotlight. I will. Amidst the cheers, I remembered what Mary once said. Love does not disappear. It merely changes its form. Yes, love does not disappear. It exists in memories, in art, in every rebirth and new beginning. It traverses time and crosses space, like that blood amber which, after millions of years, still shines, forever retaining the original warmth and brilliance of life. This is the answer I have been searching for all along. Between loss and gain, between seeking and rebirth, love remains constant, only appearing in different forms along the journey of life. And all we need to do is bravely accept this gift, no matter how it comes to us. On the day of the wedding, the sky was a clear, washed blue. Beneath the ancient oak tree that had watched over Mary, we exchanged our vows. A gentle breeze stirred, making the leaves whisper as if blessings were drifting in from another world. No matter when or where, Nicole said softly, we'll always remember that it was she who brought us together. Yes, I squeezed her hand, and we will always cherish this gift. In the brilliant sunlight, the blood amber ring gleamed, radiant as life itself, enduring the passage of time, yet still shining bright.